I really need to eat. I'll wait, and while we're waiting for inmendham to join, I'm going to see if I have anything that has calories here. I wasn't really expecting a sudden Jesus-ing episode.
Testing and such.
I've been wanting to talk to you forever, inmendham. Gary, my man.
Well, you know, from one god to another. Does seem like forever.
Oh. Yeah, you know, you get so busy with things, and I've been wanting to talk. I always try to talk to people, not just have video responses back and forth, because it simulates a conversation, but as I'm sure you're aware, simulation of conversation is still pretty lacking. To actually talk to someone in real time, face to face.
Yeah, well, I've been there and done that, though. And I, came to the conclusion with, foresight, or whatever that is, future sight. Yeah, that, now this is more lame. But anyway, I'll take what I can get.
Well, yeah, this is lame because, again, it's just like, it's not actually like human interaction. It's just the closest thing you can get using these newfangled gizmos and what have you.
Yeah, I guess I'm just...
Without actually traveling to where you are, and I'm dirt poor, and I think you're as dirt poor as I am, so neither one of us is going to be getting a Learjet, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm also dirty neurotic, so I wouldn't go even if I could afford it, because I don't go anywhere. But anyway, beside the point. This is more lame. But anyway, it's not my fault. It's one of these other assholes.
This is lame because, again, it's just like, it's not actually...
Guy. Yeah, fix that. Yeah, there you go. But if they're going to talk, I'll probably have to get pissed off and leave. You have to turn the video off now that you're in the room. DJ Guy.
Dirty neurotic. So
close the other window. The other tab. Close the other tab.
I'm so glad you're here, inmendham, because I'm always thinking that really loud, but it's nice for you to say it because I don't want to and somebody needs to.
Yeah, well, obviously somebody needs to. There, that's better.
I know, and I'm too much of a pussy to do it, and thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I do like video responses better, but it's just nobody does them well, so you can't really do them because nobody does them well. You know what I mean? Everybody does them well, even the way you do them, right? I mean, you sort of quote mine the person and just rag on them. You don't really have a conversation in video.
Yeah, and there's an inherent problem with it because, like, if you don't do it the way I do it and the way you do it, like, you might get more into it, but nobody's going to watch a video that long. So really, there's no possible way of getting the desired effect in a way that people will absorb, Yeah. Efficiency is all ways of doing it.
It just seems logical to me that, you would have in video responses, I'm just saying you have the video there, you can replay it, it's just that you could really get to somebody else's point, pretty directly, So I like that idea of, I have time to think about my response, I can make a response, that kind of thing. Where when you do it on the fly thing, the subjects get changed and, it doesn't have the same kind of structure.
It sucks when somebody, like, responds to a video and they're just like, go watch this 30-minute video so you know what I'm responding to. And I've done that because I'm lazy, but really, who the fuck is going to go watch a 30-minute video just so they know what the hell you're talking about? They're not going to do that. They might listen to you and assume that your characterization of the video is correct, which, of course, even if you're dealing in good faith, it probably isn't.
Yeah, well, if people made better videos, I guess it wouldn't be a problem, right? If the right person was making a 30-minute video, it might be tolerable. But yeah, too many people talk too slowly and too roundabout. But anyway, so the other thing I wanted to comment, well, I don't really like the whole Lord and Savior thing, but whatever works for you. But I like this whole idea of improving the Snakepliskinist. So yeah, I find that appealing. New and improved. I like that. But the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing, I just don't get because he's just he's vacuous. I mean, he just doesn't say anything important in science at all, right? I mean, he's like science for kindergartners, isn't he?
But that's the great thing. See, I don't have a use for him personally because he never says anything I don't already know, of course. But let's face it, most people have a kindergarten understanding of science, and for them, he is the Lord. He is the one who guides
well,
through
exactly.
that valley of sin and darkness.
Right.
They're clueless, and I don't have the patience. So, like, he's more of the Lord than the Lord is. If you really think about it.
I know, but isn't Jesus like a silly version of a god? Like, oh yes, you'll go to heaven. Well, without your wife or family or anybody you know, and you'll just sit around and feel all cool because you won't have any connection to your real life. I mean, isn't that kind of a lame God? I mean, God is selling, like, heaven is being sold like it's a good place, and it's like a place essentially where you don't have a penis. So why the fuck would I go there?
And you thought that through. It amazes me how, like, people don't think that through. Like, what happened? Like, don't you realize that humans aren't meant to sit on happiness? You can't just, like, sit there and be happy. There's no end point goal to existence. So, like, if you get to heaven, you're still going to want to do shit. It's just there's going to be
with this competitive. I mean, that's the word. If you only had one word that you could use to describe humans, and it couldn't be something like asshole, and it had to be like a real descriptive word, it would be competitive. That's what all life forms are. And so, what's the game we're going to play in heaven? You know.
Exactly.
I mean,
I haven't read the Bible, my friend, and I will be the first to say that most of it, almost all of it, probably is bullshit. Or at the very least, how do I put it? Very colorfully put to the point that it's bullshit. The thing is, like, you can't really make a religion a control mechanism for the masses by telling them the truth of reality, because the truth sets you free. And obviously, if you're trying to control people, you're not going to give them the full, unadulterated truth, because then they would be free. No. Yeah, what you got to do is you got to have the clarity.
You don't believe that either, though. I mean, you don't believe you're freed by knowledge, right? So I think the new and improved Snakepliskinist would concede that intelligence is a liability, not an asset, to playing the game of life. I mean, art just makes you more aware of all the traps and all the liabilities and all the mistakes that are possible and all the huge disasters that can happen, and it just really doesn't give you any power at all.
But inmendham, I'm sure you, as an anti-natalist, understand that most of the things people stress out about and worry about and strive for, really, if they understood how meaningless they were, they could save their energy and, I don't know, try to do something a little better. At least they might be unhappy, but they wouldn't be unhappy doing things they think are going to make them happy but won't. You know, it's more efficient, as you might put it, to at least understand that what's optional and what's sold to you as not optional, and it's actually optional. That truth will set you free in terms of saving you time from working for some other jackass doing pointless things. You can do your own pointless things.
I know, but the end game is still that even if you did this Buddhist thing and you just did the mind game, you just said, okay, it's all a mind game. I'll just pretend I got laid today, and I'll just pretend, and I'll feel great about myself, and I'm super cool, and everything's fine. So there, okay, I did the Buddha thing. It's all a head game. I just deluded myself into being happy. I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. Even if you do all that crap, you still have the liability, though, that there's a bunch of ignorant pigs reproducing, and they're conscious, and consciousness is going to be trapped in the vessel of these morons, and they're going to live real conscious lives, and they're essentially diluting your magnificence, right? I mean, your achievement of being actualized is completely diluted into the poo that is the average human consciousness. So in net, you lose all the time. Even when you win, you still lost, because the losers are obvious, because you just defeated them.
This might not sit well with you, inmendham, but unfortunately, as part of being the Lord, I am not allowed, by my nature or by the rules, to see any other person as any less inherently valuable than myself, no matter how stupid they may be, or destructive, or even just blatantly evil.
That just depends on how you're going to describe this word value. It's not that the value is less; it's just that it's an obvious degrade in performance. You have to acknowledge the difference between a Volkswagen and a Lamborghini. I mean, they're not the same car.
True. As I'm just pointing out, Space Jew has never said anything smart, and in fact goes maximally stupid, and he's very repetitive, but it helps me with my blindnesses, which I can't always foresee the precise nature of ways people can be stupid. So even though his performance in what you might call sentience or cognition or having a fucking clue about anything is pretty dismal, He's been useful to me, at least, for a few things. He's probably useful to a few things, few people for a few things. Not full stop, like a particular.
I understand. I'm just asking you a simpler question would be if, you're sitting on the non-existent couch and you're saying, well, what do I do today? And they give you the option, well, here's a ticket to go be Space Jew. Now you can go live Space Jew's life. So you have to be an idiot, okay, and you probably have to smell bad, and all kinds of things like Space Jew would be, right, in your basement and all that kind of mommy's basement, and all that shit. Well, I mean, you're not gonna say, oh yeah, give me the ticket, I'll play that.
Well, as the Lord, and as I must now stop putting on a show of how wonderful everything might be for me, realistically, I don't think his life is any worse than mine. It's just not what I'm accustomed to. I mean, if I did have his existence, then I would also be as stupid as him, and I would therefore have his worldview. Right?
I understand, but that's still, diarrhea is diarrhea, and you wouldn't want to have it every day. I'm just saying, whether you're an idiot or not, I mean, whether you don't know that it sucks to have diarrhea every day isn't going to change the fact that you're still going to have it.
But that's everyone else's problem because they're the ones that are aware of it.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is that everyone else is your problem. It's all the same problem. It's consciousness trapped in little flesh boxes. And my argument would be, not just an anti-natalist argument, but of course a whole living thing argument, that if you look at the state of the living form as it is existing, that, the bad apples way outnumber the good apples, and this pie absolutely sucks.
I can't disagree with you.
Well, yeah. So I'm just saying that's the bummer part. That even if you win,
me off because I can no longer lie. I would love to disagree with you and own you, like intellectually, but I can't. I can no longer do that. Did I ever tell you that that's an annoying thing about being the Lord? I can't lie, even when I'd really like to. I can't dissemble in bullshit, at least unless it is very truthful and well-intentioned. I just got to bitch to somebody, and since you seem to understand how much life sucks, I want to tell you, just, not only life, but even being the Lord, I mean, it's not really that great. I get a nice fancy title, but it's mostly a headache. I mean, there's fulfillment in it, don't get me wrong, but I mean, oh my God, like, it's not like I have magic powers, and everybody expects the Lord to have magic powers, so don't even get me started on how that fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Everybody bitches, even the Lord. Every life has problems. And, at least...
but that's a cliche, right? So, I mean, that's just, every life has problems. Well, yeah, but so what? I mean, some of their problems are significantly
different to what you were just asking me. I have problems, but I would love Space Jew's life because at least they would be novel problems. I mean, I'm very familiar with my current problems. I mean, I'd still have problems, but at least they'd be fun and new, right? I mean, and new is always good. Lisa's here.
It sounds like a lordly rationalization, but that's fine. Whatever. I would not.
That exists as rationalization in Mendham. Even the things that you think are justified thought, because that justification from anybody else's perspective looks like rationalization, and vice versa. My man, it is all rationalization. There's nothing that is not rationalization.
Well, that's what I'm arguing, that there are things that aren't rationalizations. If I say a Volkswagen isn't a Lamborghini, it's sort of a fact. And if I say, the worst human, stupid, fucking moron asshole is not living a wonderful life, it's actually a pretty shitty, awful life, and I wouldn't, even as a retard, I really wouldn't want to do that. Because
it is a rationalization, though, isn't it? It's a rationalization based on how you see yourself and how you like to see yourself. And even if you don't like yourself, you just see yourself a certain way. And so saying that it's bad to be that way is based on...
Well, I know, but you wouldn't concede... Okay, Jeffrey Dahmer, let's just say. You wouldn't concede that you would not want to be Jeffrey Dahmer, right? A guy who's basically tormented through his whole life. He needs to kill people, but he hates killing people. Completely conflicted. He has only very small moments of peace of mind, where he's eating somebody's liver and he's saying, I win. And otherwise, his life is horrible and he's living with cans full of rotting flesh. I mean, I'm just saying that even if you said, I'm being the Jeffrey Dahmer and I'm an idiot and I'm, caught up in this fun game I'm playing of, kill people and eat them, you've got to know that that's no place to be.
You're surprisingly good at making points in real time. I'm pleasantly surprised because you got me there too. You got me there too, but I wouldn't want to be Jeffrey Dahmer. However, keep this in mind, what the fuck do I know? I'm a fucking hillbilly. Doesn't matter what I want. What I want is based on my perspective, which as a dumbass inbred hillbilly is limited by, you know, being inbred. And
yeah, I know. But we know that that's just another one of these lines you use like a politician, you know. Oh, I'll just pretend to be a regular human, like I go to the grocery store and I'm just like, what are you guys? And yeah,
I mean, for my gifts of perspicacity, I still do have very gigantic flaws, which are part of being human. It'd be silly of me to think I have more of a handle on it even than a stupid person, because those stupid people think they have a handle on things. It would be delusional of me to think that they think they got it squared away, but they're wrong. I think I got it squared away, but I'm right.
I guess that's where you made a mistake, and one of the mistakes in your self-improvement thing. Yeah, I mean, getting off the booze is a good idea, but you're losing your perspective in the sense of now thinking that you're a regular human, where before you didn't. Now that you're Lord and Savior, ironically, now you're saying, I'm just a regular hillbilly. No,
I'm just being honest. Before I wasn't being honest.
So you're saying before, when you thought you were smarter than everybody else, you really didn't think you were smarter than everybody else?
Yeah, of course. It's all a big show. It's all a big. You can't just go on. You know how YouTube is.
I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I think you're lying. I think you're lying, Lord. I think you're lying. Lord, you're lying. I caught you. You're lying. You really do think you're better than 99.483% of the rest of the humans on Earth.
Sometimes I do feel like that, but I do my best to fight that feeling because I know it's a wrong way to look at the world. And it doesn't mean that I'm immune to looking at it that way. Yeah, sometimes I do think I am better, but that's wrong to think, and I try not to.
But it's as wrong as as wrong as Neil deGrasse Tyson saying he's an atheist. Come on, I mean, get real. It's by definition. You can't. The evidence doesn't point into anything else. You can't make the evidence go anywhere else, right? I mean, is there any excuse not to be an anti-fabulist? I mean, you know, is there any reason to say let's give fables the benefit of the doubt? There might be a Goldilocks. There might be a Goldilocks. It's possible.
How do you know that Neil deGrasse Tyson is an atheist? You talk about the evidence, but you don't have the evidence of what's in his skull. I mean, you're trying to, like, he's telling you he's not an atheist, and you're saying, well, the evidence says otherwise, but he's telling you he's not, bitch, so shut up.
It's okay for him to say. It's okay for me. I'm okay with him saying it.
It would be okay for him to say if it was true.
Scientist. What I'm saying is there's no logic to what he's saying. I'm saying
there is logic to what he's saying if he's not an atheist. There's all the logic in the world.
There's no logic to that. There's no logic. And religion is just as bad as any other fairy tale.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm not big about religion.
Well, I'm just saying, if I called myself an a fairy taleist, right? Would he not call himself an a fairy taleist?
I don't think he would.
So he'd be afraid of that too? I mean, an A cartoonist? I mean, I don't believe cartoon characters are real three-dimensional objects in the world. There, that's the definition of a cartoonist. Would he be one of those?
So are you saying that Neil deGrasse Tyson should say he's an atheist?
Well, I'm saying if he had any integrity as if he was really a scientist. See, the problem is he's not really a scientist. He's just like playing a scientist on TV. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for Carl Sagan, he'd be a garbage man. I mean, he wouldn't have a job. He's a shitty scientist. He hasn't done anything.
But, well, yeah, he's not a scientist. It's not like he goes to the lab and really crunches the numbers and does the really hard work. But what he does is he's a likable, I would say even lovable guy.
Right.
And he's science and he's passionate about it. He may not be a scientist, but he loves that's
the same thing. Loving science and being a scientist, I think, are two different things.
Of course they're two different things, but there's also two different functions.
Being a rock star and being a groupie, I mean, they're not quite the same thing.
But each has their place in the overall picture. I mean, what would a rock star be without their groupies?
Their place. Oh, yeah, they need groupies. Yeah, sure they do. Like they need mother.
I mean, being a rock star would be kind of pointless without the groupies. Everybody has a purpose. Don't
Well,
say the groupies
you
are
could
less
just
important
call
than rock
them
stars.
something else, okay? You could just call them the free hookers, okay? You don't have to call them groupies. I'm just saying that they could get laid.
I'm calling people free hookers,
Whether
and
they're
I'm going to
groupie about it or not.
loves free hookers, and they're not going to like that.
Well, whether they like it or not doesn't matter. I don't watch feminist videos, by the way. I'm a feminist just because I have sisters, and I know that being raped sucks, and not being able to walk in the woods alone sucks, and not being able to go to a bar alone and maybe show your hooters sucks. So that's why I'm a feminist. It's just because men are greedy.
Can't deny that any of that's true. I can't deny that it's tough to be a woman because just being a man, even if you're not a big man, you're not afraid of stuff like that. You know, I mean, worst thing somebody can do is kill me.
I know, but if there really were like 6'6", 300-pound monster men in the woods who were going to rape you, it probably would be a deterrent. I mean, it probably would. Oh yeah, well, I'm going to take my girlfriend with me, because that guy's going to rape me. So
I don't deny that that's terrible. And when I talk to individual women about things, of course I'm sensitive about it. But really, there's nothing I can do. I can't stand by every woman day by day and protect her. And I can't just come along and ignore skinny
for. That's not really what they're asking for. They're not asking to protect them. They're asking you to respect them. I mean, that's a different thing. Respect and protect. They're different words. And they're just asking you to respect the fact that women have all these liabilities, vulnerabilities. They don't have a penis, they have a period, and they get pregnant. I mean, men should be sitting on their happy chair saying, yeah, give women whatever they want because fuck, I got the penis. I mean, I won this game, and it's just, I don't get that part. I don't get why men aren't happy enough just saying, I have a penis, and they win. Why do they need to
I'm not that happy about it, but you made a point about the period. Not bleeding every month, that is worth gold right there. Or not being able to get pregnant. I mean, how horrifying is that? Like a fucking parasite growing inside of you and then ripping.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. So how can you idiots defend moron men who are just petty? I mean, just petty. Let the women have whatever they want, okay? Let them blacktop driveways. I don't even care if they have a unisex bathroom. I don't care. I'm just saying, let them win every argument they're having. How's it affect me in any way? They're not gonna cut my penis off. So who cares?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Like, yes, all women hashtag. A lot of the men who frequent that are what you would call rapists. Let me explain. I know that sounds really out there, but let me explain. Studies have shown that the single greatest predictor of whether or not a woman is going to suffer sexual assault in the future is if she has been sexually assaulted already. Now, why would that be? Let me just pull something out of my ass here. Because there are predatory men looking for vulnerable women, and after a woman's been sexually assaulted, she tends to withdraw from all men and treat them with suspicion. And good men who respect women, will respect that and keep their distance. The only men who won't keep their distance from a woman who is suspicious of all men is a predator looking for a woman who is walling herself away by pushing away all the good men, which it's not their fault, but it is something that, as a defense mechanism, women will do after sexual assault. They get on yes, all women, and then the predators know exactly where to go. They know where to find these women. They know how to make a big show of being different than other guys, and then, they work their way past those defenses.
I don't think
no good person would do. No good man is going to work his way through those defenses because he's going to respect those boundaries and keep his distance.
I know. This good man thing is the one I just find that a little obnoxious, like most men are good or something. Now, see, that's the whole problem with this whole misogynist culture, is that I think it's creating men who aren't very good men. They really are just, I think, I think in some, you could probably see it in some of your behavior in the past when you weren't lordly, that you probably did lie to women and you probably did bullshit to just get the pussy. And, this, I don't know if you call these good men, because there's an awful lot of, especially, like I said, the women I've known, the bad stories always start with a man who's just lying. and lying preposterously, you know, married men with dying wives and shit, those kinds of big giant lies. And so when you say good men, like, well, okay, point me to one. I haven't met too many.
But maybe you just didn't recognize that you were meeting them, because good people, by the very nature of goodness, don't brag about how good they are.
Well, I'm just saying it's not a matter of them telling me how good they are. I'm just saying they don't demonstrate it in their relationships with people as I witness it. I witness them pulling the bullshit, and I see them lying, and I see them manipulating, and I say, that's not a good man.
Well, you might see it, but maybe they're just like, you know, instead of having a cycle of bickering, trying to convince this guy that I'm a good guy, maybe I will just take it. Maybe I will not have drama. Maybe I'll just let him believe what he believes, and that is another trait.
No, it's not about what they're trying to convince me of. I'm just saying in my
convince you or any observer.
Good behavior, not...
Good people don't make a big show of being good, my friend. And I'm sure you're aware of this. You hate politics as much as I do. What is it but people making a big show of how goddamn great they are when they are nothing?
I'm saying
just
saying that I think males especially have lost a lot of integrity points with the passage of time. We might have lost IQ points, so I think we've also lost integrity, okay? And I think men, you know, if we had dueling and shit, there'd be a lot of more dead men around, because there's a lot of dishonorable, scuzzy, shitty, crap, lying, scummy men in the world. That's all.
100% agreed. But it's not just men, it's pretty much everybody. But what you're saying is not wrong. It's 100% correct. It is unfortunate, and I get what you're saying. Yeah, like when I talk about, when there's like these MRAs and MGTOWs, they just sound like whiny little bitches. They're very unmanly, like people that don't have honor and integrity. Well, obviously not all of them, but just like guys who are just unhappy and bitter, and they're like, oh, women are evil and shit. And I gotta look out for number one. It's like, well, I'm sorry, man. Part of being a man is being a little bit stronger than that.
Yeah, they all seem like they have maybe a little bit of a penis issue or something. You know, they're just not making it, and they don't like the fact that they're losing the game as men.
And that's the problem. If you look at the game as legitimate, you can never have any measure of happiness. The real game is coming through this pile of shit we call the world as clean as you can on the other side. And
well, I just mean
on the other side, you're dead.
I just mean as a man, you have two relationships, right? I mean, you have the relationship, you have two women, you know, but part of that relationship is the competitive relationship with other men. I mean, you know, we you know, I don't know how to, you know, our thirst for women sometimes has more to do with our ego and our status as relative to other men, you know, than it does actually have anything to do with a woman.
True. Very true. Like, oh man, you know, I banged Beyonce. That means that I'm winning the status game.
Yeah, well, yeah, you feel like
I would only bang Beyonce if it wasn't fit.
Because you're sitting on somebody else's food, you know, and so it makes you feel kind of good, you know.
Let me get a little more coffee, okay? Could you and this guy next to you, he's a total psychopath. I
noticed that everybody in your room is usually a psychopath, but they're usually everybody in my rooms are usually psychopaths also. But he smokes real cigarettes.
Sorry about that.
Must be really rich.
Start talking to inmendham while I make my coffee, faggot.
It's a real cigarette. Mm.
What's wrong with real cigarettes?
Nothing. I'm fucking envious, Mr. Moneybags.
Where the fuck do you live on the East Coast? They're not that expensive.
Oh, not that expensive. Are you silly? Oh, yes, you're silly. Come on. Fuck. $7 a pack? That's too expensive.
Where I live, get a carton for $30.
Yeah, a carton of what? Manure sticks or something.
Well, yeah, bullshit, but...
yeah, wow.
I live close to Indian reservations.
Well, that helps.
Yes.
They killed all the Indians here, so...
No, there's still Indians where I live.
Well, I just mean they put a lot of them out of business here. You know, the Indians were doing okay for a while, but they kind of... they can't really send them by any kind of mail, you know, because UPS rats them out and the mail service rats them out, so they have no way to send anything anymore. So unless you go to the reservation, you can't really get cheap cigarettes.
I can drive 5 miles and go to the reservation.
All right, well, you're privileged. Okay, let's just all concede the point, except your lamps.
I live in New Mexico.
So you have some privileges. Well, yeah, in New Mexico, you're going to die there. No water and such. All your brick walls are going to fall on you.
The hell are you doing?
I'm smoking my electronic thing.
Oh,
Whatever.
fuck that shit.
Well, it's actually pretty good, to tell you the truth, because it's, you can increase the amount of nicotine, and so it's like smoking 4 cigarettes at once.
Like this?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. See, you have to now. Those little ones you buy suck. You have to just buy the atomizer, and then you buy the juice separate. So then you can.
Oh, no, it's not. Well, yeah, it is juice. I hate these fucking things.
Yeah, well, like I say, if you do it right, it's not so bad. But the little battery sticks, yeah, they just don't do it. It's too much of a hassle, and it's just not enough nicotine. They're too weak.
No, you get no goose without the cancer stuff.
Yeah, well, I still prefer real cigarettes, but I'm just saying this stuff does have advantages in the sense that you can just increase the amount of nicotine you get per hit, which it's kind of a psychedelic actually. I didn't realize how much of a psychedelic nicotine was.
I was just noticing that too, because there's a limit to how much you can smoke with regular tobacco and whatnot, because there's a tar coating that comes with each hit. Where with the nicotine vapor, you can just get enough for nicotine to fucking kill yourself, which, if you look at my last video, my eyes are all like super wide because I'm not used to that much nicotine in my system.
Yeah, I kind of like it, but sometimes I'll be just, you can just totally zone out. You'd be watching something on the computer and you're just like, hey, I'm quite stoned on nicotine, it's just funny.
Oh man, I forgot. I'm supposed to eat meat in front of you to taunt you. Shit.
Yeah, well, it's okay, but that's almost as dangerous eating raw broccoli, because who knows?
Oh, so worms and shit?
Who knows what kind of pig shed on that?
Well, you do frozen vegetables. You heat them up.
Yeah, well, you have to cook food.
Well, I can smell the pig shit, but I can't tell you the kind of pig. My nose isn't that good.
Yeah, well,
I think it's a medium-sized pig, mostly corn-fed.
Yeah, I'll eat fruit raw, but I ain't gonna eat anything else, man. You gotta cook it. People are slobs.
Yeah, but not like the effort and shit. I mean, really?
I understand, but I'm just saying, me personally, I just don't. Food poisoning is kind of irritating and annoying, so I avoid it.
Yeah, you do have to worry about worms, though, with stuff like this,
Yeah,
roundworms getting in your intestines. Anyone who wasn't the Lord, I would not recommend this.
Yeah, you're just lazy, so you have to do what you have to do. Well, you're busy. Let's just say you're busy.
Lord, don't get no damn worms, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yet.
I actually don't have meat because I don't eat meat. I only buy meat to eat it when I'm responding to vegans because that shit is funny.
Well, it's not all that much funny, actually. I mean, it's only funny to you and to morons.
It's funny because I'm a vegan and I eat meat just to piss off.
Well, I understand, but that's not even funny, though.
It's only funny to me. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Really
Stupid is funny. I mean, come on, let's admit stupid is funny. So, yes, we all watch people do stupid things because it is funny. So, you got me there. So, 1 point for you.
Well, it's I like it when I get a response video from you or the vegan atheist and looking down on me when really I only eat meat because of you guys and only when I'm talking to you guys.
I know, but this is just kind of like watching somebody, like a little kid in nursery school, still playing with his poo, and you say, well, yeah, he's having a good time now, but he'll grow out of that. And you'll grow out of your need to mock.
People have been saying that for a while, and I've proven them wrong. I will grow out of
your need to mock the suffering of the poor little farmed animals.
Well, I'm not causing that suffering.
Yes, you are. Propaganda. Yes, you're a propagandist for the mission. You've basically got the, animal torture swastika on the back of your head. It's there.
That is hearsay. You haven't seen that. I mean, it is there. You haven't seen it. You have no way to know for sure that it's there.
It's there by.
I mean, it is there. Don't get me wrong. I got the tattoo because solidarity.
Well, I'm just saying. So I win. Whether I have proof or not, you just concede I was right. So I win.
Yeah, the problem is the whole thing about debating people is, the thing about debates is the very point of debate is never to resolve anything but to further divide them. Whenever you debate anybody, both sides, both debaters, what they're really doing is reinforcing the parts of their rationalization structure of their worldview, cementing it further so that it only keeps them at odds with the people they disagree with.
No, but that's just what you're saying because you have given up. Okay, so that's like...
My point being, with all of that inmendham, is if I came to a vegan as a vegan, then I would unfairly curry their favor by them knowing that I agreed with them. So I have to go out and buy meat so that I am not manipulating them.
I know, but they're not nearly as manipulating as the carnivores. So, I mean, the one view should be improving the mindset of our brain function.
You are incorrect, inmendham. They're not manipulative. They rationalize all day and all night. They rationalize their behavior, but they're not trying to manipulate anyone but themselves, and they are entitled to manipulate themselves.
Well, I know, but there's no point. That's like saying I'm going to stop war by not going to the war. I mean, there really is no point in doing that kind of thing. So that's useless. I mean, vegans aren't.
There's no point. There's a very good point, inmendham. You're not going to war.
I know, but it's not going to solve the problem. It's not going to solve it. It's not going to solve the problem.
Well, it's not really your problem to solve, so don't even sweat it. There's only one thing you can control in this world, my friend. You're controlling it. Good job. Don't worry about the war.
That's a logical block you have created through your defeatism. You've just conceded that you can't win, so you're not going to play the real game because the real game, I can't win the real game, so I'll just play this little stupid minor, small, human personal game. But the real game is the big game. I mean, that's the major leagues. You're just conceding that, I'm not good enough for the major leagues, so I'll just try to be the best.
Really? Is it the real game? Because, I mean, it seems to me that everybody thinks that the big picture is the important thing, but it's very obvious that people who care about the big picture, not always, but often, or actually they're always at the heart of every large-scale atrocity, talking about the greater good. Like, why don't we throw these people under the bus for the greater good? Why don't we commit now for the greater good later? Big picture is no picture.
It's not true, though. So I just don't buy that argument that everybody who ever commentated on any subject was in some way some insidious monster and created nothing but harm.
True, but
mothers against drug driving, right? You couldn't get a naggy pile of bitches like mothers against drunk driving, right? I mean, just naggy, in your face, pain in the ass bitches. But what they did was perfectly constructive. It was perfectly reasonable to point out that, hey, this is really dumb, letting people get killed on highways for no good reason.
Yeah, but that was an achievable goal. It didn't. Unlike stopping war.
I know, but you're saying that's what I mean by your defeatism. You're not conceding it's not a fight worth that needs to be won. You're just saying, I'm not going to be able to play because I don't have a big enough sword, or I don't think I can
realize that I am your Lord and Savior, and
I'm just saying you're kind of running away from the real game. The real fight is the propaganda for the future. The real game is fix the future. The present's going to be this big. I mean, it's not really big at all. Average penis.
The size of my penis.
The future is gigantic whale penis. Okay, the future is the game. That's the thing
that is the thing that you're sold. That's the thing you're told your whole life. I mean, I can see why you'd think that.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot more people in the future, isn't there? Technically.
The future doesn't exist, dude. What are you, insane?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. You don't think it's going to exist?
It's going to, but things that are going to exist.
The future will exist. Okay, yeah, so when it does exist...
You're talking fucking crazy, my friend.
Oh, I'm talking crazy.
It does not ipso facto exist right now.
I'm imagining a fact being realized. Oh dear, that's crazy talk.
It's just, I mean, the future, sure, we'll get there, but it's great leverage, isn't it? Great leverage because you can put hopes and fears in the future and drive people toward one agenda or another, and that's certainly what people do.
Well, I'm just saying, if I realistically could make 10 clones of you and inject them into the future, you would sort of understand that, oh yeah, if I can do something today that'll make all my clones millionaires in the future, it would be really smart for me to do that thing, especially if that thing is really easy. Like, oh, I have to say something like, I respect women, or I have to say something like, yes, torturing animals for convenience is really lame. There, that's all I have to do. And I just made my future selves millionaires. I mean, I think I could do it.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, okay. Out of what? Spite. Yeah, I'm going to get those fuckers.
No, because, I mean, like...
Dare they attempt to control me by existing and forcing me to be logical.
Don't let people leverage me with meaningless, worthless nonsense like money. I'm surrendering my own soul.
Well, how do I practically turn it into something where you can understand that the future isn't meaningless and worthless? I mean, I just made 10 clones of you, and you're basically saying they're meaningless and worthless. I mean,
well, I'm meaningless and worthless. Copies of me would be equally meaningless and worthless via the transitive property of worthlessness. Come on. I'm just fucking with you. But no, here's the thing. Now, the future isn't meaningless, but you can't really, like, give up being good today for goodness in the future. Because, there's a future, but you really don't know what it's going to be. You can plan for it.
I know, but we're still talking about minor, little tiny changes now make big changes then. See, that's sort of the game we're in. So it's not like you have to necessarily jump on a grenade, although sometimes jumping on the grenade does save the day and you save 1 million lives and all that kind of thing. But I'm just saying it's not like it's having rhetoric and improving other humans isn't really like peeling your skin off. It's, it's not giving you tapeworms. I mean, it's not some sort of terribly hostile, awful, terrible thing for you to say, oh, I can't be funny about that. I can't be, lazy and sloppy about that. I mean, that's not that big a sacrifice. I mean, I'm just taking away a small portion of your possible sources of humor.
Rather do the big sacrifice, get it done with, as the Lord, just die for your sins and let you guys hammer out the details. Just fucking torture me a little while and then kill me. That is way better than this day-to-day stuff. Just my personal preference in how I manage.
Well, that would be my preference too. I mean, I really wish I could have the bargain that Jesus got. I mean, it's a really good bargain, right? I mean, hang on a cross for a few days, save all of mankind forever and ever. Oh yeah, great. Okay, I'll take it.
So I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to get your own. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, I can just think of like one kid with leukemia has got a worse deal, right? I mean, because they suffer and get tortured for what? To play pinball. Yeah, wow, cool, and to get a stuffed animal. They don't even get to save the world by suffering.
Well, let me speak to your heart, inmendham. Let me tell you what the real sacrifice of Jesus is. And you're making kind of the same one, and it's this. When you go through the world and you really can see all the suffering and care about it, care about people, the only thing real in this reality, but you don't care about the things they seek to find, like money or power or the accolades or all that silly nonsense. You don't care about that, but you care about the people. You got to go through life. It's kind of empty and sad, kind of pointless. Just kind of got to do the whole human thing without the nonsense that makes it so enjoyable to the humans. Keep in mind all of the eating and the pissing and the shitting and the breathing and the sloughing of skin cells and all of the hassle of being a physical goddamn being. That's the sacrifice. The 30 or some years that it takes while you're doing that fucking look at me and my physical existence. This shit sucks, man. It sucks if you can't keep busy with all that shit that keeps people busy.
I understand, but there's janitorial tools, right? So, I mean, if you're a good janitor, you have a pair of pliers and you have a dustpan, you have all these little tools, so you can make the job a little bit easier, and it doesn't have to be that big an inconvenience. And you can you can have a picture of a sexy girl in your locker and, have a wank now and then. So it's not that it's not, it's not that big a burden, because if you have a big brain, your brain can make you tolerably comfortable even when you're not.
I know. And that's what I've been doing. And you're always bitching about that, by the way. You're like, oh, look at this guy. He's happy to. No, I'm just making it look easy, my friend. I'm finding ways to.
I understand, but I guess my argument to you would be is that you're doing it in this clown way that's really it's only working backwards. I mean, you're only making it easier for assholes to remain assholes. I mean, the assholes are the ones that need to be fixed. And in a sense, most of your humor is directed at the things that aren't as big an asshole.
And I've recognized the failures of my style, and I've been slowly correcting them. Maybe not satisfactorily to your timetable, but
I
a little less like what you just said.
Right. I like the new Lord and Savior much better than Snakepliskinist or Rizzle Pissle or whatever. So yes, you've improved. I'm just encouraging you to keep up the good work, and you're heading in the right direction. Yeah.
One problem is I can't become too seriousness because I got to tell you something, and then a little bit of a secret. The bad people of this world are the masters of seriousness. Their ground. They have it nailed down. It's their fort. I'm not going to win on perfectly serious terms because the serious terms that have been set by people who set them that way so that no resolution could be reached. The system is broken by design, my friend, and remaining serious and playing by its rules is to be defeated like all others who play by its rules.
I'm not disagreeing. I don't think I'm all that serious in a lot of ways, but I'm not using
I know. That's what I love about you. Like expert, listen,
I'm not using model because I'm just as capable of rationalization, and I like when people point out when I'm playing the rationalization game. But again, I'm just saying you're kind of just rationalizing an excuse to stay in the sandbox. You just don't.
Well, I don't really need to make an excuse for my past behavior, and I actually don't need to justify or prove to you that I'm doing any better. I'm just chatting about it. But the thing is, when you take things in terms of a serious debate, well, then everybody's got to prove this and that. Everybody rationalizes harder, and everybody just gets a little more clueless in their specific way of cluelessness.
Right.
So I'm not serious. If I take myself seriously, then I will not notice when I'm fucking retarded.
I understand. I'm just trying to outline what, like let's say we could do something constructive in this interaction. It would be maybe to isolate what might be the real, the most powerful agents for change, or the most important aspects of how we get human civilization to be something we could actually be proud of. Like we could actually be proud of the human effort. And I'm just saying, those basic things, I would say, I would argue that one of those basic things is you don't pat assholes on the back and say good job. I mean, assholes basically have to be told you're an asshole, okay? I mean, I can't even pretend to be your friend, okay? I can't pretend to be a huckleberry, just to placate this idea of a fellowship that doesn't mean anything because you're a fucking asshole.
Okay, well, all right. Now, I'm going to tell you that's true, but the world isn't fair, and you're right, people do need to know when they're being an asshole, but because the world isn't fair and you have the superiority of awareness, you also have you have the more responsibility. So you're aware they're being an asshole, but not only do you have to inform them of that, you have to think of a way to get that through to their thick skull. Like, it's not fair, but it is what you have to do.
Yeah, well, to give you the benefit of the doubt, I'm presuming that your Lord and Savior thing is maybe a construct through which you think you can do that. So maybe I'm saying to myself, okay, he wouldn't have come up with this gimmick unless this gimmick has some purpose or utility or function. And so I'm saying, okay, how's that? I can't figure out exactly how you're going to play that out, but maybe you do have a plan. So maybe you do have a way that you're going to say, okay, I'll be able to get myself. I'll be able to help these people better by bullshitting, and then get them to some better place.
You give me way too much credit.
Well, I said I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so
as the Lord, I can't go along with anything that isn't true. I'm going to hit brass tacks. There's two possibilities. One, most likely, overwhelmingly likely, the only one that I can really tell you about with any faith that is true. I've cracked. It's been a long life. I've done a lot of drugs. been through a lot of shit, and my mind finally cracked right down the fucking middle, and it's given me messianic delusions, and I have broken from reality. That is what all logic would suggest is the case. However, what I believe, and I would if I was delusional, obviously, crazy people believe crazy things, what I believe with all of my heart and soul is that God did come to me, gave me a mission. And not a lot of details, and I just kind of got to go along with it. It's actually good.
Yeah, I know, but God is the relative word there, right? Because God was what, a squirrel? He manifested himself in the shape of a squirrel. And
Well, I mean, I could tell you what God is, but why? Yeah.
why? Why tell me the most important thing in the universe?
Well, let me ask you this a minute. When you look around the world and people are selling bullshit, how do they do it? I mean, they have a pamphlet, a script. They can answer all your questions. They can tell you why you're wrong when you tell them why they're wrong. They can define everything. They have all these terms to describe all the details, but it doesn't change the fact that it's bullshit. So I'm not going to even bother telling you something that sounds like bullshit, even if I think it's true, if it looks like all the other bullshit, because then, I mean, you know, how would you know the difference? It looked just like the bullshit.
Well,
No, I'm not going to tell you what God is because fuck you. Fuck you. I am not going to fucking convince you. I would prefer you think I'm insane because
Okay. You're just conceding the argument. Okay, then you're crazy. Okay, I got it. All right. You're too distracted
we can table that forever. So
too distracted.
Pretty much playing along with my delusions, but let's make no mistake. I believe this shit entirely, 100%. Now that all logic indicates that means I'm fucking insane, but I'm not lying.
I can't do anything but concede to your insanity, right? I mean, I can't really argue with insanity, so I'll have to just say, okay, I guess you have to be insane about that. Fine.
Exactly. So we won't get bogged down in that tedious, pointless discussion. Because
well, I don't know if it's entirely pointless, though, because there's a certain amount of corruption in the process, right? So, I mean, if one of the wheels is flat on the Lamborghini, then you might as well take the Volkswagen.
The devil's in the details, in London.
Yeah, and in the flat tire, the flat part of your brain. Yeah, that's where the devil is.
Well, I mean, you're talking about situations where you might want details, but if you're talking about an entirely abstract thing that really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, but isn't like a little bit pregnant and a little bit crazy almost the same thing, you know? I mean...
Oh, I'm not a little bit crazy. I am the very craziest.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. Well, thank you for pregnancy, right? You can't be just a little bit pregnant, so yeah. There's only one kind
this isn't minorly crazy. Like when you think you're Jesus or Napoleon, you are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's just I necessarily now have to, you know, kind of paint playpen around you just because there has to be this grounded recognition that, okay, he doesn't seem like the same man as Rizzle Dizzle or Snakepliskinist, but at any moment, he could convert to that asshole.
Well, I mean, if I can convert to this or that, then they're all just me, and you're really drawing distinctions pointlessly to waste time, apparently.
Well, it's not sideways motion, though. You figure that somebody, you know, you're in a better place than a lesser place, a smarter place, let's say. A place less distracted by being just a stupid animal. So let me just say that I guess that would be my argument.
Well, it sounds like you're wasting time putting words to things when you already understand in totality.
Yeah, well, that's sorry, but yeah, that's my whole life. That's right. Yeah, that's the real burden of being smart when everybody else is dumb. Is that yeah, I know everything, they don't know anything. So yeah, that's the problem.
Well, I mean, if you're drawing distinctions with words and whatnot, you're actually taking the real knowledge and turning it into something stupid. Like real knowledge is wordless. Word.
Who said that, Bureau? What is real knowledge?
I said that, bitch. I'm the Lord.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, knowledge is made out of words. Words are the definition of knowledge.
Wrong. Knowledge is conveyed in broad strokes by words, but no true comprehension can occur without that wordless reflection within your own brain. You can't be told stuff and then know it. You cannot know anything unless you think about it.
Blue is a concept in my brain, not a word in my brain. So yeah, I'll concede the point, but the labels are still important for communication. So it's all about the labels.
Yeah, and big rules about stuff generally aren't true. For blue, you're right. But for stuff like, I don't know, me being this way and that way, who I am as a person, meaningless shit.
Well, I don't
really
think there's a word
you already know about me. I mean, it's really a waste of time. Whereas if you're trying to describe to somebody, what color is that? Oh, it's blue. Well, that's useful. But delineating the various little things about me, tedious old, stupid old me, like taking the time out of your day to put that in words where you can just look at me, know who I am and how I am without any words, I mean, really you're wasting time. Whereas if somebody doesn't know what color something is, you can tell them it's blue and it's a real time saver.
I know. But obviously if two people watch all your videos as Snakepliskinist and then we talk about Snakepliskinist, we're talking about an informed impression of what a Snakepliskinist is. So I'm just saying words are really important because once they have elaborate definition through life experience, and if I say the word suffering, it's not just a 8-letter word or whatever the fuck it is. It's a big, giant life experience word. I mean, it's your entire life experience with something that might be called torture and pain and misery and all of this crap. So it's a huge fucking word because it has a ton of life experience and refinements and picking and poking on it. So it's a gigantic word.
Yeah, but there's no. I mean, delineating. Are you going back to being Snakepliskinist? You rizzle dizzle right now? You speaking as the Lord? All of that really doesn't matter, and the past doesn't really matter. You deal with me as I am now, and you really see how I am now. And hearkening back to me being different ways, really.
The past matters. You can't get to the past, so obviously the past doesn't matter. But obviously the past is everything that we are now. So I mean, the past made you.
Well, you say obviously, but I think you mean axiomatically. It's a little different.
I think I mean fucking.
See, you know, it is what people are like that.
Like so, you know, it's like so real, man. How could you miss it? I mean, axioms almost like dogma.
Of course, the past does determine what we are, and you are correct about that. But doing this about it doesn't do anything. It's pointless. Because, I mean, let's just do what things are now and draw our own conclusions.
I know, but the only point in bringing up the past would be to refine the impressions that you've built in the past. So the point of this
well, yeah, but that's your job. You do it silently in your own brain.
This is still going to be the past. I mean, this will be a past, okay? This experience doing this video tomorrow is going to be in the past. And it's going to be something that we either took something positive out of, or we took something negative, or we gained something, or we lost something. Our impression of the world,
but you do that quietly.
Changed by
You'll draw those conclusions to yourself, not discuss them with me, the person you're drawing conclusions about. That's silly. I'm the last person on earth here that you want to talk to about this. Because
every one of those concepts, whether it's on a personal level or on an intellectual level in terms of your gleaning knowledge of something or whether awareness of something or, you know, I said the word suffering and it rolled around in your head. I'm just saying all of it's having an impact. And to say it's just this, it's not just this. This is everything that we are, is this conversation and what we do and how we smell and fuck, every bit of it is meaningful.
But, well, yeah, but you're talking about this. You're talking about how you're categorizing and defining my personality to me. But I know how I am, and there's no point in doing that. And I realize how. I mean,
well, I'm not concerned about your.
Let's drop it. How things been going for you lately?
Internal personality, okay, whatever thing you have. Okay, I'm doing this God thing, and I'm the Lord, and blah blah blah. You could sort of keep that a secret. Okay, you don't have to make that part of your personality in terms of how you project in the world, right? I mean, I could be a serial killer, as many people speculate, and that could be a truth, and I could still function as a vegetarian. Oh, hey, don't harm animals and don't do this and don't do that, while I go molest some things and kill them. It doesn't really make a difference. I mean, you know, all that really matters is how I project, what I'm projecting to other people. That's where the impact is. The impact it has on me internally doesn't mean much. The impact I have on the external world is what means something. I mean, saying I'm going to be who I am, I'm not telling you to be somebody else. I'm telling you to perform as someone else.
That's the thing. I can't. I'm not at liberty to. I mean, I'm glad that you have that available as an option, but I do not. As the Lord, well, I can't. I can't just give impressions.
I smell another excuse, but it's okay. You can have those.
It's a pretty good excuse, at least.
What? I can't? That's a good excuse. I can't? Okay, I'll use that.
I'm not allowed. Do you know what the Lord is? You're the Lord. You cannot go around giving people impressions of shit. You can't just say, I'm not the Lord. I mean, you can sort of say it in a joking way. Fortunately, humor is how you get around both being honest and not constantly having to defend yourself. That's what humor is for. That is what God invented humor for. By the way.
Yeah, God. Well,
but
right.
no, God, liberty to not say that I'm the Lord.
The God who doesn't let you have penises in heaven. Right. That God would tell jokes.
Yeah, you're referring to stuff out of the Bible. The Bible is
I'm just saying.
I'm embarrassed that you think it is.
I understand, but you're God of the what? The
Alpha and the Omega?
Yes, the erect nipple. The God of the erect nipple. Yes.
Well, I mean, I would love to see you, inmendham, fit the full glory of God into 3 pounds of salty meat that we call a human brain without some technical difficulties. I'd love to see you do that. Can you do that, inmendham? Then don't bitch about God and micromanage how he does his business.
Don't micromanage the train wreck. Oh, okay. Just let the bodies fly wherever they're going to fly. Who cares?
Well, I mean, realistically, inmendham, micromanaging a train wreck can make anything other than a train wreck.
Let's not have any airbags or anything like that.
Let me do my impression of you and then apply it to you correctly.
Thank you.
Oh, look at this guy. He's just so glib, you know. I mean, glib, just making jokes and always. This guy's joke. This guy.
It's okay to make jokes. I'm just saying I wish your joke targets were appropriately aimed. I wish you aimed the gun of joke at the people who deserve to be joked upon.
All right, you know what? I got to be humble. Suggestions. Actually, I don't really target people anymore. You might notice I don't really the YouTube thing. But just in who is targets like for mockery?
I'll
consider it. I'm not going to argue with you. I'll honestly consider it. Okay? Who did I mock?
Well, everyone, but the amazing atheist, you could mock him some more. But Neil deGrasse Tyson, your icon, your scientist of acceptable credibility, you could mock him.
Why?
Because he's kindergarten science. This is not a good thing. Turning. It's like Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan drew everything, economics and defense and all systems. He drew everything in crayon. Do you think it did people any good to draw everything in crayon? I mean, he turned complex issues into crayon drawings. We'll just make a little shield and it'll protect us from the nuclear bomb.
Well, inmendham, let me ask you this. Do you think that in general people don't really care about science enough? And
that's why they should be called assholes. Neil deGrasse Tyson should be saying, you know what, motherfuckers, I am not even a good scientist, but I kick ass compared to you shitheads, and here you are on this planet doing this serious business of creating life and driving cars and putting other people in jeopardy and doing all this serious shit, and you assholes don't know what the fuck you don't even know what planet you're on. You think there's a fucking God? Well, you're a fucking deluded lunatic.
Okay, so your complaint is that...
You're on a goddamn leash.
He's not doing enough, but you're... Let me tell you what he is doing that you might agree with, and keep in mind that you can't do everything. You can't accomplish everything. You can about life. You can only work on your own little thing. People do need to care more about science, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is a lovable person. And if he shares something he cares about, he can make other people care about it just because he's such a nice guy. Now he goes around calling people assholes just because they are. He's not going to be as lovable.
Well, I mean, Barney the dinosaur was lovable, but I don't think he did anybody any good. I mean, I just
What's this guy doing? Hey, man, you want to table this and pick on the guy in the middle for a little while? Because it'd just be a nice break from the serious chat. I mean, the guy in the middle, he looks kind of like a faggot, don't he?
Well, no, he looks like a nerd, but I wouldn't say he's a faggot.
No, I don't mean technically gay. I just mean, a sissy, limp wrist, cat owning kind of guy.
Well, cats are cool. But anyway, yeah.
25 of them. No, 25 cats. He is a male cat lady.
Yeah. Well, that's too many cats, obviously. But yeah.
He talks to me on Twitter. He sent me pictures of at least 25 separate cats. And the pictures showed they were in his apartment, so he has at least 26 cats. And
Yeah, well, that's obviously you have to not know what your penis is to waste your time taking care of 25 cats. Yeah. So. That's
I don't know. I mean, I have a tiny penis, but I still don't have time for 25 cats.
Well, I'm just saying, any penis is better than a cat. So yeah,
Don't their penises have like barbs and shit on them? I mean, it wouldn't be good for sex, but you could sure scare people with it.
Yeah, well, I guess the good part is that once it's in, it's staying there for a while, right? So I guess that's the good part. But yeah,
I have a pickup line that goes like this: knock knock.
Oh yeah, something. Who's there?
Knock knock.
Yes. What do you want?
Supposed to say who's
Yes, who's there?
this dick.
This dick.
Or not this dick. I already fucked it up.
Yeah, you already messed it up. The monkey. Yeah.
No, I'm not even going to go with it now that I messed it up. And we're actually quite alike. People point it out a lot, and it used to bother me, but I just realized that we are basically the same kind of person who have been mentally broken by caring about the world and seeing how it's going until it eventually, here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, well, I can't blame you.
Crazy serial killer thing. I don't think you're a serial killer, but everybody thinks you are. And I got my whole messianic delusions. It's a rough life. It's because if you look around the world and really care about this shit, it's it.
Yeah, well, that's the sort of the ironic joke is that the serial killer is almost, one of those doing the mercy killing thing. He's probably doing people a lot of favors because then they don't die of cancer and they don't get divorced and cry and do all that crap and they don't have this stupid idiotic future they're going to have. Instead, they get out rather quickly most of the time. Well, some of the time. I mean, some serial killers are awful because they torture people and all that shit. So fuck them. But ones that would just go around whacking people, I guess I would sort of say, well, good job.
You make it hard to love you, man, when you say things like that.
Well, there's no harm done is all I'm saying.
I'm the Lord, so I can do it.
There's no harm done. None of us will be missed in any critical way. That's just the truth.
Oh, well, yeah.
We're probably going to make more messes than we clean up, right? I mean, we'll probably leave more poo behind.
No problem about it. It's a mathematical fact. I mean, if you really crunch the numbers.
Well, that's the sad, tragic fact, right? I mean, somebody else will probably enjoy my money more than I would, so they might as well have it.
That's my point of view on the matter.
Yeah.
Of course, you know how everybody gets on here, and I'm doing. I don't want you to see what I'm doing here. I won't lie to you, but I ain't going to tell you what I'm doing either. Everybody.
Anal warts are rough, huh?
Sure, yeah, they are. I'm sanding them off, I mean, nobody really wants to see me filing my butt.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We'll just pretend.
In fairness, they are genital warts. It's just the guy put them in my butthole.
Yeah.
No homo. It was heterosexual.
Well, sometimes it all feels like homo.
And there's nothing wrong with that, my friend. You're a little old for me, though.
Yeah, well, it doesn't, I can just do it in my head, so it's a head game for me anyway. Yeah.
I've kind of lost interest in sex as I've gotten older. I mean, it's rather repetitive, insert penis, pump, dump, yada, yada, repeat. It's just as boring as every other thing in life, like the breathing and the pissing and the shitting and the sloughing cells and all that nonsense you have to put up with.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. So, yeah, I still...
Don't get me wrong, it takes a long time to get old, but it does eventually get just as old as everything else.
Well, I just, no, it's not really as old as everything else.
Well, I've become more of an emotional little girl as I get older, so now I'm more looking for love than sex because I've had enough sex without love. I just like a little bit of love, real companionship. Probably not going to get any of
I
that.
know, but that's no good either because then, see, if you actually care, then you start worrying about them when they go out and go into the store or something. You're saying, oh no, they're going to get killed driving home, and then you start worrying about cancer or something or some other thing, and oh, that's no good either.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I would never have children because I would be obligated to care about them. Where any person that I have a relationship with, it's kind of an at-will contract.
I know, but if you love them, then it's going to be a problem. I'm just giving you a fair warning that once you love them, then it becomes the same thing as a child because you're going to be worried about them and you're going to want to do the right thing by them and all that kind of crap and blah, blah, blah. And you have to worry, you have to listen to them and hear about the problem.
Love your offspring.
Huh?
Well, the problem in Mendham is that as the Lord, I already, that's kind of an obligation that I have to love everybody and care about them and listen to them. Insofar,
I know. That's maybe your obligation, but you just basically conceded that most of the time that's not what you're doing.
Well, just because you can't meet the standard doesn't mean the standard doesn't exist.
Well, I know. I'm just going by your performance issue again, so I'm just.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. My performance report shows several areas where I still need, like, almost total improvement, okay?
Yeah,
That's all.
I'm just...
Mendham, I am not the Lord and Savior that you deserve. I'm the best that this piece of shit universe could throw your way. And you know what? We're all disappointed. None of us is happy about this, but let's try to make it work. You know this universe isn't going to give you the Lord and Savior you deserve.
I'm trying to be encouraging, right? I mean, through this whole interaction, I've tried to be nothing but encouraging, I think.
We get along pretty well. Fairly well. Any way you could help me with the presidency thing? You know, any kind of crazy shit you got up your sleeve?
I just figure I'll make a video like 3 days before the election and just say, everybody vote for me, write in my name. See, that's technically legal. You can actually write a name in, so just write my name in and I'll be president and fix everything. Seems simple enough. Let's just, I have this idea, actually, as you know, I'll just throw it at you as an idea. My solution to the whole politics problem would be to have collective presidents. So just take like 6 good men and just say they're running for president, right? And they're a democracy in themselves, right? So all of the non-critical, let's bomb the Russians, right? That would be one guy who's the head president, let's say. So he would make all of these bomb Russias with the nukes decisions. But every other decision, it would be a democracy of these 6 or let's make it 7, just so there's no, tiebreaker problem.
It'd be a little jury for every issue, so it's not
just. I'm just saying, but you'd have these 7 different brains, right? And so you're basically electing 7 brains with different ideas and different approaches. You know they're going to argue with each other. They know they're going to disagree, so you know nothing's going to be done. And you get rid of all the pork too, right? Because they all can't be from Sequanza, Kentucky or something, right? They all can't be from the same hometown. So they're all going to have different agendas. And so you get rid of all the bullshit, right? I mean, they would end up having, to do something. And you could hate them, right? You could hate half of them and still like the other half. So it's all kind of good, right? I just think it'd be a good way to run for president. Just run for president and just say, look, me, Snakepliskinist, the amazing atheist. Let's even get coffee to play along. Even that Degrassi Tyson guy, yeah, we'll let him in. And you get 7 guys and you just say, we're running for president. And, this is what we're going to do. I think it'd be a good idea.
It's an amazing idea.
Yeah. Good, anyway.
Now we got to figure out a way to make that implementable. Unfortunately, I'm going to need somebody smart to do that. Let's find guy in the middle. Are you smart at all?
He smokes cigarettes. I mean, whoops. Whoops.
What's the question?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, God damn it. Never mind. Go back. Go back to doodling.
I'm playing in the chat. I'm playing in the chat.
Well, he's got Hooters in the background, so we'll give him some credit, right?
Cool. Fucking.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Fucker. And then fucker some more.
Softcore porn cable porn.
Cable.
What's really great about your idea of the jury president, what'd be really great is if it was never disclosed what was anyone's idea, right? So if people these guys were working really to do their jobs and not for personal accolades, for political points, they'd be more inclined to not do stupid, fucked up shit just to look good. If nobody really knew where the ideas originated, who opposed, when it came down to making that call, you get your jury, they go in, they make their decision, and it's got to be, if not unanimous, then majority wins kind of voting deal for the presidents.
Yeah, well,
Not
I think the majority has to win. I guess you could put some decisions, say it has to be a 60% or something, but I wouldn't go any higher than that. I mean, you're not going to get consensus on anything, so consensus is kind of a game breaker. But I had the same, I first thought of this as the Supreme Court. It'd be nice to be able to just vote off the asshole. So like every year we should just vote off one Supreme Court member, and you put a new one on, just because, there's assholes on the Supreme Court. I mean, they make asshole decisions, and you should get rid of them. They shouldn't stay there for life.
And Clarence Thomas, he has not made a single decision in the past, ever. He's dead weight.
Yeah, he's a moron, too, besides being dead weight and, eats a lot of food. He's really, really dumb.
Yeah, he's dumb. That's why he's on the Supreme Court.
No, he's on the Supreme Court because Congress is retarded. Okay, I mean, come on. I mean, he's basically
politics.
He's got more dick than brains. Apparently, that's about all he's got going for him. Is he has apparently a big, giant soda can penis.
That was like black, so I mean, we can assume that.
Allergic reaction.
Well, that's not racist.
Racist. Doesn't have anything to do with race. I mean, come on. The woman accusing him of,
Oh my God.
He honestly thought there was a pubic hair on that soda, but it was just a nappy black person.
Yeah, well,
he was railroaded for that shit. Nah, I don't even know.
Well, I'm just saying, it was just kind of when I actually watched the hearings and when you saw it, I mean, come on, his roommate in college was saying he had posters all over the walls, I mean, he was just, he was out of control.
Well, he's a piece of shit, probably. I mean, odds are, just anybody, just to get up through the political establishment, you got to make compromise after compromise. No remotely decent person.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, and he's a liar, right? I mean, he's a liar, right? He's supposed to be some, Harvard law guy or whatever the fuck he was, and then he answers the question on abortion and says he's never discussed it with anybody.
Politics.
I mean, well, no, I'm just saying, though, why would you put somebody on the Supreme Court who says something like that? I never discussed the issue of abortion.
Politics.
How can you be a lawyer and not discuss abortion? It's only, one of the top 10 legal cases ever decided.
Politics.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who normally says nothing of worth, he's got it.
I know, but is that the Supreme Court? I'm just saying, isn't the Supreme Court supposed to be above that? So I'm just making you're making my argument for me.
Well, yeah, but in Mendham, we both know that what it's supposed to be for is the opposite of what it's really for.
If they're lying politicians, they shouldn't have a life appointment then, retard.
Politics suck.
No, just shut up.
In Mendham, politics, by its fundamental nature, requires it to be wrong about everything. Because it's...
Not if you do it right. No, that's not true. If you did politics, if we had a real democracy, if we got rid of the geographic thing and we had, 200 congressional seats, or you just come up with an arbitrary number, and it was a national election, and all you had to do was get affirmative votes, so you couldn't steal votes. So you didn't have a regional election, you just had a national election, and you're going to elect 200 guys to get the most votes. Then everybody would have a representative, right? Cigarette smokers would have representatives. Everybody would have a fair seat. So even the child molester lobby would probably have enough people where they'd actually have molesto as their representative. And you'd have Klan members, you'd have real America in the Congress having a real argument. And I'm just saying then politics changes, right? Because then you've got a lot of passionate, honest men fighting about these issues instead of a bunch of compulsive liars fighting.
Oh, you're right. No, let the smart guy talk again. Okay, now, inmendham, you're right, but here's the problem with the nature of politics. Yes, if you were to institute that system that you said it would work great. But by the nature of how upward mobility works, those who are hungry for power would climb upward, fill those echelons, start doing a few deals, changing the system a little in their favor so that they could maintain
Well,
their
you wouldn't vote for them then, right? You'd want your representative to be your representative. You'd want some shirtless glibite, who tells jokes, to be your man, right? I'd have, like, Jack Kevorkian ran. I would have voted for him. I'd have Jack Kevorkian as my representative. If Jack Kevorkian sold out, then I wouldn't vote for him again.
And it would work, and that would create faith in the system, and people would have faith in the system.
Well, I'm just saying, the word politics, we've done politics bad. I just don't want
to go right back to where we are, my friend. That is how politics works, how it's always worked. Look at ancient Greece. Look at ancient Rome. Look at every fucking empire, my friend. The best system cannot fucking last.
Excuses to be a quitter, a little weak runaway quitter. You're just making excuses to quit again. No, politics is a word we can save. We can save the word government. We can save all these words. Okay? They're concepts. They're concepts that can work if we make them work.
Okay, and when that happens, we can talk about politics like it might be right about something, but that's not the current state of affairs.
I understand, but don't make excuses. Don't keep making excuses for it being broken. There's no good excuse for it being broken.
No, I'm saying if you want to change the system so that it actually works, then you cannot use the terms and ideas that keep it broken. You have to think of it from the outside. You cannot, therefore...
What am I supposed to do? Call it government? Oh, yeah, good government. I mean, what, do I just change one letter and it's okay? Let's change politics to smolopix and then it's okay? I can use the word? I'm just saying that the idea...
No, it's not a word, it's the
idea of representative government is a good idea that is reclamatable.
Reclaimable is actually the word, but sure, fine. I'm just saying, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. It is, but... Like if we're like the terms that we currently use to describe things, political terms, they're an aspect of our current political system, which is currently broken. So we have to discuss things not in terms of right and left, feminist, libertarian, whatever other fucking political groups they are, because the current political groups serve the current broken establishment.
I understand, but even your argument of pointing out reclaim, we never had it. That's the whole point. We can't reclaim it because we never had it right because we always had to do it wrong. We're stuck in an outhouse, okay? We can have a fully functional bathroom, but we're stuck in an outhouse because people are glued to tradition and they have no capacity to do this progressive vision thing. They can't actually imagine better futures and then see roads to them. And so my point is that it's not about reclaiming something. It's about making something. It's about taking the shit and making it into something that's not shit. And it's doable. We can turn the shit into gasoline. It's doable.
If we have good people up in those positions, yeah, it is doable. We're just got to figure out a way to dig out the current people, psychopaths.
Right. Well, I'm just saying
they're sitting on that power structure.
My fundamental argument to you is the first step is not to make rationalizations for failure. That's my only argument to you.
All right,
quit making excuses for failure.
I just figured out how we can work together to fix this. Okay. Using our relative strengths. Okay. You're going to want to build that political system after I start exposing the corrupt people in there. Like I start throwing the vile and iniquitous from their seats of power. That will allow you to inspire people to move in and change it for the better. Because I'll be taking out the people squatting over it and maintaining it and die while doing that. And then the rest, see, I get the easy part. Then you
I kind of want that part. I want the part where I get to cut their dick off and then you can worry about, reshaping it into a vagina.
Listen, as the Lord, I cannot possibly endorse that. I will say that you are joking and we will move on.
It's a metaphor, right?
You handle your end however
analogy or a metaphor. Yeah, it was one of those.
Listen, I don't want to know your details. I'm not a micromanaging Lord. You you can put your system in place after
you have to kind of micromanage. I'm just saying to stay. You should know as a past drunk. From your drunk experience, you should sort of know that sometimes you have to micromanage or you don't even stay on the sidewalk.
I have faith in you, inmendham. I think you can, I think once you see me start doing the impossible and actually making my way toward president, you're going to be a little bit more of a believer. And you're going to say, maybe I, inmendham, maybe I can make it.
Look, I don't mind being the brain behind Snakepliskinist. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you don't mind. What we don't mind doesn't really matter when we see that there's something we can do, and we are just the motherfucker to do it. We can't count on it.
Right. Well, that's the attitude. That's the kind of attitude I like. Okay, all right. Let's kick their asses and such.
I get to be a martyr, but you get to be a hero, which is actually quite a huge burden now that I think about it. But
I'm already going to be a hero. I mean, I did the Einstein thing. I've done this whole quantum mechanics fix thing. I fixed the whole unification thing and everything. I did all that shit. So I'm already going to be a big, huge hero for that.
Well, yeah, but God doesn't care about that. In fact, he says, fuck you. What he is saying is
Exactly. So, yeah, I would really like to do this, save all the little sensitive creatures on Earth from horrible torture. Yeah, I'd rather get that trophy.
I'm just gonna need you to try to not become a ruler or a god yourself. Just like what you're saying about the political system, I think you could come up with something that was very fair. I mean, you can't implement it all those,
Well, look, you're kind of you're a good talker, right? Look, let's just concede you're a good talker, right? See, I'm a good talker, so I'm from the perspective that as long as I have a voice, I can win an argument, right? So I mean, as long as I get to open my mouth, I'm going to win. So from my perspective, democracy is a dictatorship because I'm going to win. I'm going to win the argument. I'll make the other asshole look like an asshole, and I'll win. So I win in democracy. Democracy is inmendham dictatorship.
You're absolutely right. You are right. But that's the thing. That's the whole point. It's all about the debates and which side of the issue and which side of the spectrum. It's all about winning. You can win even when you're wrong. You're that good. You're that skilled.
Yeah, well, I do notice when that happens. So I think I am cautious. So that I have to my credit. I think that I am cautious not to win arguments I don't want to win.
Yeah, because you could beat the other person. You could argue something, like I do this sometimes, like I know I'm dead wrong, but the other person isn't smart enough to tell me how I am, so I just keep rolling. Like, I do it for a joke, and I admit it, but it's very easy to do if you got a little je ne sais quoi, joie de vivre, have some bon mots.
Well, that's why I outed you kind of on that, because that's exactly what I'm finding critical of. The Lord and Savior shouldn't be playing those kind of games, actually. He should be a little bit above.
Well, I don't play that under my official title, the Lord and Savior.
Yeah, okay.
Somebody named the Rizzle Dizzle should be expected to behave as somebody who would call themselves the Rizzle Dizzle. So, I mean, or some, like, any videos under Snakepliskinist, I mean, from the name Snakepliskinist, I mean, there's no disparity of advertising. But now that I'm the Lord and Savior, even if I'm not perfect, I will work toward that, being the best Lord and Savior I can be.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's not exactly true, though, because Snakepliskinist basically was kind of a heroic character, kind of an honorable, decent, fair, honest guy, and your version of him was kind of shabby.
I didn't realize until I looked through my videos how obvious it is when I lie. It's, really embarrassing. I think that, when I say that as the Lord I can't lie, it's not, that's...
Well, you're not that bad at it. Look, I'm kind of stupid, I don't get jokes and stuff sometimes, but, I was actually going for the turnip farmer thing. I was saying, yeah, okay, that's possible. He lives in the middle of nowhere, so I guess he could possibly be a turnip farmer.
Well, yeah.
Somebody has to be one, right? Somebody is actually a turnip farmer, right? Somebody is.
Turnips exist, and they don't farm themselves.
Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's that guy. So I fell for it.
That probably didn't seem like a lie, just because, I'm sort of, when I say turnip farmer, I just use that as another word for hillbilly or rube, hayseed, just a hick in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing to do and nothing, backwoods turnip farmer. Good old boy.
I know, but that doesn't go with your spelling bee obsession as a little nerdy kid and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, obviously you're not quite hayseedy in that sense, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not really sophisticated, I guess, is what you might say. Like, I know a lot of things, but I convey them very much in the crude manner of my ilk.
Yeah, I guess they ought to make a new James Bond ought to be like that, right? Like, instead of being really sophisticated, he'd wear, like, dirty long johns and shit and pretend he's a turnip farmer, and he'd fool the bad guys all over the place, but they'd be like, oh, that's just the janitor walking by. And they wouldn't realize.
I think it's better for spying, you know. If you just act like a dumb hillbilly, nobody's going to think you're there to steal their national secrets. You're not like, yeah, got it.
Yeah, you like fart and stuff. You know, do everything anti-James Bond.
Well, yeah, I mean, that James Bond, somebody that suave and smooth, you're going to be like, that guy is a little too fucking suave and smooth, you know? I mean, it's kind of ostentatious, like, now that I think of it.
Yeah, and realistically, if you were a mastermind criminal mentality, you'd automatically just shoot him in the back of the head, right? I mean, because you're like, okay, James Bond technically could trick me. But yeah, Hasey, oh fuck, yeah, he's not going to trick me, so I don't even have to bother killing him.
God damn it. I seem to, man, that electronics, I'm charging it.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with your little battery thing. That's why I use an adapter and, don't bother with batteries anymore. Indoors.
Yeah, and since, like you mentioned, you can inhale like a psychedelic dose, I've been taking enough puffs to kill an elephant. You might notice I'm super intense just in this video. That might be the nicotine, like, really focuses me.
Yeah, we can buy it, in bottles. You have, 500 milligram bottles of 100 milligram nicotine, so you can really get.
Yeah. I'm charging it.
And then you just, I just add it. I just add a little bit of juice and, up the dose. And...
My lungs do seem to be working better. I mean, I'm sure the e-cig is killing me in novel ways other than tar, but, man, my lungs, their function has improved, like my sprinting and long-distance running by, like, 30% maybe already.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any of that, actually. Cigarettes really agreed with me, to tell you the truth. I never had a smoker's cough or any kind of... I love cigarettes. So.
Oh, yeah. And plus, I'm smoking cigars, and so each one of those is just... You're not even supposed to inhale them, but I say, fuck YOLO, I inhale them deeply. And I found pieces of wood inside of the Black and Milds.
Yeah, that's actually how I started smoking cigarettes. I started on cigars, so I started smoking Tiparellos, and, like, I didn't know you weren't supposed to inhale them. And I was like, people were looking at me funny. You inhaling that? Yeah, I'm inhaling it. What are you supposed to do? Am I supposed to inhale it? What, are you crazy?
Yeah. You only live once, I mean, really.
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, why waste?
Drink deep from the cup of life, my friend. Don't just take a sip and, like, choke on it. Like, drink deep.
Yeah, and the whole point was to kill a party for smoking reefer. So that was the whole point of smoking in the first place, was to make yourself more reefer-friendly.
I really like the cigars because, like, I like to overdo things in a cigar. I mean, it's just so much more nicotine, especially when you're like sucking that shit down. And then, I don't know, I think it looks cooler, by the way. Just to smoke a cigar, you can point it like a little wand. Keeps your hands busy as you talk.
Yeah, well, it has a better color, obviously. More of a manly color. Poo color. But yeah, I have to agree. I did like smoking cigars. It's just they smell. I don't like the smell of cigars. I don't mind the taste of them, but I didn't like the smell of them.
Yeah, they have kind of a chocolatey taste that's pleasant, vaguely chocolatey. I mean, don't you think chocolatey?
Well, everything, I suppose, that has a little bit of a... I mean, you can almost say, this tastes a little bit chocolatey. Yeah, okay, maybe. I guess I just don't know chocolate very well, so I guess I can't say. Everything could be it's like that chicken thing, you know what I mean? Everything tastes like chicken. Well, everything,
You like chocolate, right?
I'm not sure. I really... I like chocolate. I used to eat, when I ate ice cream, I liked chocolate ice cream. So if that was chocolate, then yeah, I like chocolate. But chocolate has a lot of shapes and forms, and yeah, so I'm not sure I like chocolate generically.
Well, I mean, I don't count white chocolate, of course, because that tastes like cheese.
Yeah, that's like yogurt or something. That's not even
It's
chocolate.
like it shouldn't call itself chocolate. It's
Right, right. It's such a fucking lie. You're right. They just lie to you overtly.
It's like,
You know,
this sort of weird college cheese. What the fuck?
Yeah,
That made me angry. It's very badly misled.
yeah, it's like on a potato chip or Frito or something. I mean, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, or like you get here's some nice chicken wings. Open it up. Oh, it's donuts with sprinkles.
Yeah, yeah, that's unfair.
Entirely different category of shit.
Yeah, that whole muffin cookie thing or something. Anyway,
Sure.
but anyway, I probably should move on to some other project, like doing the whole physics thing or something serious, real.
Nah, don't pressure yourself like that, man. You know it's not serious. We're all just killing time until our cells wear out. You know that better than anybody.
Oh, I'm a lot closer to that, so obviously I am more reluctant to acknowledge that's all I'm doing because I'm close to that.
So, like, if life was a race, you're getting close to the finish line. So, I mean, why don't you just be like,
Well, because I know I
off myself.
I know, but you just have to look at like Mexico and you just say, oh shit, I'm going to be born in Mexico. So as soon as I die, you know what I mean? You're just basically going to get, yes, the new model's going to be the Mexican. You know, and
Wait, are you
I'm going to have an uncircumcised penis, and it's just going to suck.
You're not going to be reincarnated. You're going to be dead.
I know, but it's the same difference, right? I mean, I'm just saying this is all kind of a universal functionality. I mean, we're all just the wind-up Donald Duck, right? And so, yeah, one of the Donald Ducks has a longer beak, and one of them has yellow eyes, and one of them has blue eyes. Who cares? I mean, it's all the same model. It's consciousness inside this bullshit. And so I'm just saying, in that sense, you're going to
think about
come back. You're going to come back again. You're going to have diarrhea again, and you're going to have.
Not focusing on the positive, my friend Gary.
You're going to have liver cancer again. You're going to have athlete's foot again. Blah 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 blah.
Oh my God! Well, and you'll deal with that when you get there. But currently, Gary, you are winning. This piece of shit world has tried to kill you.
I know, but I'm just saying that it just takes the complete advantage of the winning when you know that you're not out, okay? You're not going to be free. They're going to drag you back. They're going to drag you back and put you in the shitty Volkswagen. I mean, I'm driving the Lamborghini now, and they're going to put me in that ratty, smelly, barf-encrusted Volkswagen. And I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, well, in that case, you really better join my cause, because at least you can get a reprieve.
Yes, give me life ever after. Yes, you'll keep me alive.
No.
I don't have to be born. I don't have to be born. What?
It'll just be less shitty, of course. It's just, that's all there is. Less shitty and more shitty. The levels of existence. I mean, and of course,
I'm just saying, I have to concede. I just think it's more shitty to be a stupid, smelly asshole, and I'm just
well, I mean,
being the stupid, smelly asshole in Indonesia who's also a Muslim. I mean, the whole idea of that being my fate just makes me want to puke a lot.
Well, can I help you? Actually, I can help you with that. I can help you with that.
Oh, good.
Or actually, we can kind of all help each other with that. The thing is, brass tacks, I'm not even going to try to sell this to you. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. Not give you any details other than that. But I go, okay.
Yeah, there's a rainbow. There's a rainbow, and there's a little pot with gold in it. That's as much as I can tell you.
Let me give you the deal, and then I'll just tell you. The universe is a simulation within a simulation within a simulation, stemming from an original universe that may or may not be a simulation. Nobody really knows. Shh, no details. So, well, we have a choice coming up. That's what the G versus E is, really. We can either go up a level of simulation, or actually a couple to the source, a couple levels, you know. Or we can burrow down further into the simulation, which will be even worse about the shit in this life. Because when we go deeper into the simulation, we take with us the grudges and prejudices from the one that we're currently in. Ideally, what we would like to do is wake up from this level of existence and return to the that we came from. No details on that either. But, it's nice for a time before we want to create some more existence to live as individuals instead of as one single being. And that's that. So, given all of this, don't you think that you want to move up away from the mucky muck that makes this existence just like so shitty in so many ways, needlessly, pointlessly, every minute of every day? I mean, I'm not even going to sell you how. I'm saying it will be better. All that shit that you hate about this, it's an aspect of this simulated reality born from the previous experiences in the reality before this. Now, the standard model.
How does that account for like evolution and the fact that most of the mammal brains aren't doing this human thing? They're doing the outside in the rain thing. And
let me answer your question with a question. What part of I'm not going to fill in any details about?
I know. well, I'm just saying.
Sure, I felt that I stated that as perspective.
I don't think it's a detail. I think it's kind of like
that's actually quite a detail. I mean, wait. I'll tell you what, Inmendham. I'll tell you what. You think about. I'll give you one good, solid explanation of one aspect of one thing. But you got to think about which one you're going to have. Because I'll give you, Gary, my friend, one good, solid description of one thing. So just think about it, what you want me to describe, because you're only going to get the one. A blessing from your Lord, if you will. One thing. But other than that, I'm not going to sell shit to anybody. The Lord is above convincing people, spouting bullshit. So just think about it.
Well, I'm just saying that we've already sort of agreed that this is just this mechanical machine, and you're just roboting your way through stupid gameplay. So how does the gameplay get better?
That is the thing. It is a game, but as part of the game, you have to believe it's serious. That's part of the game. But once you realize that wake up from that, it's like in a dream. You're in a dream and you're fighting.
When you
feel all terrified. But once you wake up,
would you stick a glib suppository up your ass? I mean, and you're just back to the glib thing. Okay, I'll just pretend it doesn't matter.
I don't really appreciate you just you glib and yada yada. It's terribly disingenuous. It really
I know that's like the Krypton.
No, Gary. You don't want to say things that are honest. If you don't want to be sincere, why don't you just take a moment? There's no problem with that. But don't you start spouting shit at me to deflect. You take a moment. I'll give it to you because I'm the Lord. Okay? But you do not fucking bullshit the Lord.
Yeah, the Lord is a scaredy. The Lord is a scaredy cat, a scaredy of the glib word. Yes, I accuse you of glibbery.
Well, hey, man, I can't compel you to do what you know is right. I'm not the kind of Lord that not only can't I compel you, but I mean.
Look, I'm just saying that what we're arguing about is whether I should
do not
skip to the finish line with some delusion that it's all going to be okay when I know it's not going to be okay, and just do it just because, well, it's easier.
Seems like what you're doing is easiest.
Well, I think it's harder. I think it's like flying to the moon and such, and the whole Kennedy speech. And we're doing it not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Because we're tough humans and we can do tough things. And so, yeah, I think I'm being all very macho and facing the brutal fact that, holy shit, I'm fucked even if I win.
I will take that as a question, and then I will give the answer to give you just for this. Okay. If you're God, what do you do? Details about God, I'm not going to give those. But if you're God, you have all of the knowledge. You really know everything. But it's because you're a composite of a great number of living entities who have all come to an understanding, many minds coming into a supermind. Well, what do you do then? Like, if you're comprised entirely of relational beings that, have interpersonal relationships, act as individuals, have passions that they pursue, etc. What do you do when all those goals are fulfilled? Like what you were saying, Gary.
You flood the earth and kill everyone, except for Noah the drunk.
So what are you going to do, Gary, once you get to heaven, everything's copacetic? What are you
I'm going to try to buy a Homer Simpson suit, and then I'm going to go in the time machine, and I'll go back to where the first paramecium,
Why don't you answer me seriously?
And I'll step on. Well, I'm saying there's nothing you can do about you can't break you can't go back and fix it. So you have to fix it by evolving it into something that can appreciate there's nothing to be gained by torturing sentient organisms playing a game for which there's no actual way to win.
Really? Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can only walk the road that says this is the road to some kind of hope about getting something accomplished that might mean something, and all the other roads basically say wasting your goddamn time, jerking off. So, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. What if, I mean, yeah, I can't say that it's wrong to look at sentient organisms and their well-being as non-factors, because they're very clearly factors. They're primary factors for anyone who gives a damn, anybody who does have a conscience. You care about sentient things and their suffering. So that isn't a non-factor if you take reality at face value. If you take it at face value, that is.
Right, if you don't glib on it.
If you engage itself. But then again,
look, if you don't ego,
you really have a simulation, an immersion game. Wouldn't you have something like that in your fully immersive game? Something that, how can you disagree with it? Because if you think the reality is real, you engage it as like, how do you even know these sentient organisms exist, Gary? How do you really?
Well, there's no evidence that they don't exist, so I'm just saying, I guess
exactly.
that's pretty good evidence is that there's no alternative theory that makes any sense. So they exist, well, that's about the only theory there's any evidence supporting, so I'll go with the one that has some evidence.
Precisely. And if you're playing a video game like, say, The Sims, those Sims, they always act like their reality isn't goofy in a number of respects because it's part of the aspect of being a Sim. Similarly, in this reality, you have no reason to doubt any of that stuff. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a very good simulation. It'd be fairly pointless if you didn't have a factor that made you take it seriously, and it had every appearance of being on the level. Right. If you really wanted a good game and you had godlike powers, I mean, I think you would make a game that would have those aspects.
Well, I'd certainly make a game that had more penis in it than Sims. So, yeah, I'm just saying that I don't get the whole Sims thing, to tell you the truth. I never really got it. I mean,
it's really dull. Yeah, it's like
way too much work. What do you mean? I have to build my own house. I have to build.
I know. It's like, oh my god, even my own life is too much for me. Like in terms of the tedious. Why do I want a second one of those? Jesus fucking Christ, the one I have bores the shit out of me.
Yeah, I just never got it. It was just way too much.
I know.
Like playing Madden football or something. What do you mean? I have to spend 3 hours decorating my uniform with the appropriate whatever?
I will admit, I got on SimCity, and man, I made at least one really good city that I'm like, done with this forever. But man, I wrecked it in so many ways. It's really a lot of fun to like really fuck with the citizens, screw them with their taxes and shit. I'll watch them move out of the city, and then I'll be like, well, maybe you'll move back with zero taxes now.
Yeah, wow, that's like having the cheat code in some games, right? The game's worth playing if you have all the cheat codes, but if you don't have any cheat codes, it's like, fuck this, this is a waste of time.
I've never used cheat codes. I don't even know where you'd find them.
Oh, well, yeah.
Not much of a gamer.
Yeah, well,
Lately, I've been doing Goat Simulator because it's relaxing to me. I've been stressed out from my lording and savioring. And Goat Simulator is just like returning to the simple pastoral joy of being a goat who can do really crazy shit like turn into a shopping cart. It's relaxed.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll have to take your word for it. Yeah, I don't. I'm doing reality, so yeah, I don't spend too much time in the.
Well, this is no more real than Goat Simulator. It's just a little bit better of a simulation.
Well, this is more of a challenge. So, I mean, this is more like, intellectual gameplay. You do have to what did he just say? The appropriate response is, so it's kind of like Jeopardy a little bit. A little bit.
There are a lot of people who are sort of like filler people. People who let's say you are Truman in the Truman Show. What if you were Truman and you went and you just randomly talked to people who were extras? If you really talked to them for a while and listened to them, You get that sense because they'd be like, they wouldn't never expect you to talk to them if you're Truman in the Truman Show. So they'd be like, making up, I'm from Boise, Illinois. I just recently, moved here, right? If you really talk to people, you can figure out there's actually a lot of people who are kind of like extras, filler, scenery.
Well, I think all of them are, actually.
No,
sorry, I mean, people worry about silly things like whether their wallpaper matches their floor tiles. I mean, these people can't be real, can they? I mean, the stuff people are worried about just seems so... Oh, how could you even waste time?
I'm going to tell you, I know this, I don't want to come off as overbearing here, but inmendham, you know that there's something about me that's very real. You might disagree with me. You might think I'm glib. You might not, but you know that I'm real. I may be crazy. I may be stupid. I probably have VD from some Twitter whores. That's very likely, but I am the genuine article. Maybe a little over the top at times, but I am an actual factual person with a soul in a metaphorical sense, because, obviously.
Well, I'm just saying, I've conceded that point. That's why I'm here, is that you were an asshole, before. And
you were drawn to me because, what, are you going to talk to me?
Now you're this idea of I'm going to project something more better. Just saying, the concession you've made, essentially saying that I'm better than being, a huckleberry for their entertainment. Being eye candy for, drooling NASCAR fans, that's not what you had as your ambition in life, right? You're like, hey, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to be.
Are you saying that I am?
Well, I'm just saying that you were eye candy for NASCAR fans. You were just like, oh, look, we can win. Losers, liars, creeps can win. That's kind of what you were projecting before.
The thing is, it's not a matter of projecting so much.
It doesn't take that much work to really clean yourself up a little bit and play a little bit of this I'm going to be a human game. So you're doing this I'm going to be a better human thing. I have power, I'm going to exercise it. See, that's a much better attitude than, sitting on your magic wand and seeing how far you can shove it up your ass.
It's true. I had a power I didn't suspect. It's actually my sincerity. I never thought of that as a power. But, I'm not, I always thought I was a very terrible person, but I'm a very sincere person. That's why people love me, despite me being so very unlovable and being so abrasive and being an outright asshole, because people, they just give me a big break because they can sense somehow that I am just I have issues, and it makes me a total shithead. But underneath all that, I am a decent person, and I will eventually.
I can't say I was that optimistic, but yeah, okay, maybe, possibly. Maybe you're sincere, but I'm not entirely sure that you're there yet.
Well, that's the thing. I got to work on the power. The power. And it's a lot of prancing, too. A lot of my Jesusing is actually a language that's in that empathy system. It's like an unlock code that makes people forget the bullshit that they've been fed. But it's a lot like prancing around. It's really goofy. I'd love to meet you in person, and, if you have any bullshit that somebody's put in your head, I could just, remove that for you. It's my power as the Lord. But it is a very in-person thing. That's why your Lord is your personal Lord and Savior.
Yeah, right. Laying on the hands and such. Oh, I see.
You don't really seem to be suffering from any bullshit delusions, though. You have some real personal pessimism, but nobody's fed it to you. You have come to conclusions on your own, my friend. You're not programmed at all, honestly, in my opinion. And that's a good thing. It doesn't mean you're right, but at least you're wrong on your own terms because you've thought them out on your own.
Well, I guess that's the part I've been programmed. Somehow I end up programmed to detect programming. So my whole life I've been very self-conscious about my own programming, so I've been very skeptical of my own motives, and so it's made me kind of neurotic. Because obviously then you end up kind of...
Yeah, it's a feedback loop.
So you can't really help being schizophrenic when you finally go through this, because you're basically dividing yourself up into... my stomach and my penis and my selfishness and my ego, and you're just basically saying, okay, these are the things that are motivating me, and none of them have any credibility whatsoever. They're all assholes, and the only one that has any brains is this program that's saying, hey, those are programs. But I'm just saying it does. You do pay a price for it. I'm just saying that I wish I had started later in life, this whole awareness thing. I mean, I wish I had found out that people are assholes after I was,
Well, the thing is, I mean, you say people are assholes, people say you're assholes. Why don't we just stipulate we're all assholes, the cancels, take it right off the table?
I know, but there's a difference, because I'm not the one torturing animals, and I'm not the one believing in fairy tales and building a whole edifice, a whole giant civilization built on preposterous lies like capitalism and Jesus. I mean, that is just such failure.
Yeah, but if you're the one with the awareness, then you really have the responsibility, because assholes go asshole, man. That is their thing. That is how they roll.
Well, I'm just saying, if it was inconsequential, then I could just say it doesn't matter. But it's like the three-legged dog. It matters. Hey, the dog's got 3 legs. Why does it have 3 legs? Well, I guess something ate its fucking leg off. That's not good.
If it really matters, then you're going to have to do the most difficult thing of all, I mean, even though you know that you are a better person than them, you're not the one torturing those. In addition to that, the world is so unfair, my friend. In addition to that, you got to pretend like you're not better. That's what you got to do. If you really care, you'll do it, because that's what it takes to accomplish.
To enjoy winning is all I'm saying. So that doesn't do me any good. It's like if you, I could almost think that if you won the Olympics, right, in some stupid event, that you might even start thinking about all the guys who lost, and you might even say, gee, he would have made much more out of it, right? I mean, me winning a gold medal is kind of bullshit, because I'm just going to get laid and, waste it. And, yeah, for him, it was that guy's whole life. Well, I'm just saying, you're probably smart enough to do a little of that contemplation.
Yeah.
Realize that,
I wasn't sent by God. I
probably realize that this gold medal has a bunch of blood on it, that basically there's a lot of pain and suffering that went into this stupid thing, and it's just so fucking stupid that all of this energy, all of this wasted work and pulled muscles and broken legs and ruined lives, for what? So I could win the lottery. I mean, it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of prancing and a bunch of, fancy hats. That's what it's, all this suffering, like needless, pointless suffering. So a few people could prance around saying, look at how cool, and da-da-da-da-da, look at our symbols of status and power, look at our trappings of how highfalutin.
Well, I'm just saying that every billionaire is made out of that, right? Donald Trump is sitting around going, hey, I'm a great guy, I'm doing good, I'm fantastic, I make jobs, I do all this shit.
That's really crushing human beings.
He's had a bunch of people grinding away that he's exploited their labor like fuck, and taken away half of their life, taken away half of their comfort. He's probably caused divorces and suicides and all kinds of shit by exploiting the fuck out of human beings and grinding them into dirt. And you're just saying, look at our culture. Our culture is making a fucking tribute to that. It's making a monument, a statue to that. And so I'm just saying, at 4 years old, I realized when I woke up on planet Earth, and I said, gee, everybody's an asshole. They're full of bullshit. They just lie all the time. They just lie about everything. You ask them a simple question, why are we here? What are we doing? And they give you this preposterous answer. It's God's will that you're here. And we're just trying to, get stuff.
What you were saying about Donald Trump, would you say that we live in a time where what we need is for the first to become last and the last to become first? I mean, because think about it, those first in our mind is successful, like Donald Trump. They are the very last among the worthy of us.
Lots of that biblical stuff is applicable. Do unto others, have others do unto you. So there's about 7 or 8 good paragraphs in the Bible, but most of the Bible's doing is throw rocks at gay people and shit. So most of the Bible's...
Forget about the Bible and think about this and the times we live in. Think about what you just said, that we give such accolades and love to those who have the flashy symbols of power, but really, to be successful in this world, you do have to be a psychopath. You do have to truly not give a shit about anything but getting yours.
Yeah, you got to be worse than a serial killer. You're worse than a serial killer. And I'm just saying that's how upside down people's understanding of reality is. And that's why I'm arguing with you that every opportunity we have to tell the assholes they're assholes, that they're respecting and loving bullshit, that they're eating sewage and they're feeding it to their goddamn kids. They got to quit making icons and ambition out of these insanely stupid propositions like lotteries and gambling and all this other bullshit that is not a winning game. It's a fucking, you're guaranteed to create more losers than winners. It's stupid. Stop doing it. Find some other way to masturbate.
And that's how you have to, that's where the universe gets unfair. Because not only do they not realize it and you have to tell them, but you can't even just tell them directly. Nah, the universe
exactly.
is
That's my whole point. You gotta go exactly. You gotta mug them, punch them in the face a few times, get their goddamn attention, and then physically rape them with the truth suppository. You have to shove Gary up their ass enough time for them to realize that I have to pay attention to this guy because he has the uncle stick.
Gary, you're lucky. You're lucky because I'm the Lord, and I just so happen to have a better way. Yes, indeed.
Oh, cool. Magic sprinkles, like cereal dust.
Well, actually, I don't want to repeat my Jesus-y things. I'm sure you can find some religious person to tell,
Okay.
Let's not use
the potions, yes. Eye of the newt and,
See, here's the thing. Here's a very pragmatic thing. It doesn't matter how bad they are and how stupid the things they're doing are and how obviously stupid it is. They are not aware and they will not be made aware by you talking. Therefore, you have to act as an agent of what is good. What is good for everyone.
My theory. This is my theory. If the smart people, the ones capable of understanding that it's stupid, would actually say something like, hey, I think that's fucking stupid, instead of making excuses and rationalizations for stupid people being stupid, then I think we could straighten them out. But if the smart people keep placating the dumb people and keep saying idiocracy for the win,
golly gee willikers. I mean, that sounds kind of like a rationalization for not doing the extra work of not confronting people. You want to confront people, who doesn't? But if it doesn't work, then you're making excuses. You got to do what will work.
I think it would work. I can't do it alone.
Yeah, but other people have to do that. You only control
my target is smart people placating stupid people. So I think I've got the right target. I mean, they're really the problem. The stupid people can't fix themselves. The smart people have to instruct them. And I'm just saying the smart people are too lazy and too busy playing, Grand Theft Auto. I mean, that's the dismal truth. The smart people are just too distracted by their own, I'm super smart and cool. They're too caught up in their ego crap to realize they have work to do here.
You really stress smart and stupid. What really matters in your Lord's humble opinion is what's in the heart.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so if they're stupid, but they have
it's a muscle full of blood and shit, okay?
Gary, if somebody is stupid but they have a good heart, then you can get them to move in the right direction using the common language of the heart. If they have a good heart, you can speak to that. And maybe that's why your Lord thinks it's so important. Because you have
So I disagree with your premise in the first place. I don't think there is a good heart, actually. I think we're all, even me, okay? I haven't fixed my heart. My heart is still an egocentric, vain, selfish cunt. And it'll always be. I can't fix that because I'm an animal. So my heart's an animal. It's not smart. It's stupid. It's crass. It's greedy.
Okay. Wrong metaphor. When I say a good heart, what I mean is a sense, a conscience, and also this right here, the anterior and posterior, what do you call it, insular cortex, the empathy centers of the brain.
I know, but aren't those developed by intelligence? That's my argument. You have to be smart to understand obligations. You have to be smart to understand responsibilities. You have to be smart to do all that kind of crap. So it's really about being smart.
Exactly, but if you're not smart...
It's not about feeling your way through life. It's about thinking your way through life and I'm basically saying that you're not going to have any genuine, useful, or accurate empathy if you're stupid. Because if you're stupid, then you'll sit there and say, you'll be goo-gooing to a baby at the same time you're eating a hot dog. I mean, like, that makes some sort of sense. Like, baby deserves goo-goo, and pig, fully grown sentient pig, deserves to have its fucking neck ripped open until it bleeds out. I mean, I'm just saying that the illogic is so obvious that you can't say that person is smart.
Okay, but Gary, then you have to. What advice do you give to the stupid people? Do you just tell them to kill themselves?
No, I don't give them any advice. I'm saying the smart people should pick up the hammer of wisdom, and they should bash the dumb people's brains in with it. I mean, they should fucking rape them with the goddamn truth as hard as possible. Rape the dumb people. Rape them hard. Call them what they are, dumb motherfuckers. Let's not call them Muslims anymore. Let's just call them the dumb motherfuckers over in the Middle East. So let's just get rid of Muslim and just say dumb motherfucker. And then for Christian, we can say stupid cunt. And let's just call them what they are. Quit playing games like they're really human when they're really just dumb motherfucking less than chimpanzees. Even chimpanzees are smarter than most human beings because chimpanzees aren't smart enough to invent alcoholism and, gambling and, well, they do molest their children. And sometimes
the intelligence isn't really much of a factor. I mean, like, really, intelligence, what's it good for? Any dumb jackass can be super.
Well, I'm just saying that I think intelligence can make you understand. I mean, it doesn't. Well, how much intelligence does it really take to recognize that a 1-month-old human baby?
It doesn't matter how much it takes. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
5-year-old pig. I'm just saying that you don't need much brains to be able to recognize that the brain is where the feelings are.
Well, it's really terrible that it doesn't take much, but if people have even less, there's the reality, and you have to deal with it if you really care about it.
I'm dealing with it by saying the smart people have to fix the dumb people. Is that something wrong with saying that the smart people have a responsibility to correct the dumb people, and you don't correct them by saying good job? That's not correcting them. Correcting them is saying you fail. You fail.
Them to do the right thing. Like, if you know what is true, then why not speak to them so that they can see your sincerity and they can be led?
Well, I just explained that. The first step for them to understand is you have to first eviscerate them of their preposterously insane ego. So
why do they need to understand?
You have to first humiliate them before they're ready to receive.
Why do they need to understand, Gary? If they can just know what they can do and you can let them know.
I just explained why is that's what separates us from fucking hedgehogs.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't get a lot of pride out of being separated from a hedgehog. I mean, hedgehogs are pretty cool. Why are you looking down on hedgehogs? They have very...
You wouldn't think they were so fucking cool. I'm just saying, if hedgehogs were in charge, you wouldn't think they were all that goddamn cool.
Well, I mean, they probably wouldn't have as much bureaucratic paperwork, so, I mean, they already got that going for them, so,
I'm just saying, but they'd be giant hedgehogs shitting on your head. You'd be fucking crawling.
I do have some German DNA in me. Maybe I have some latent scat porn, predilection. There might be some positive to it.
Count on that.
On the bright side, my friend.
You're saying I'm fighting the preposterous fight. I mean, that seems like the preposterous wishful thinking that you're going to end up having some fetish for hedgehog poo. I mean, please. I don't think that's a high probability.
Well, when you are the Lord and Savior of the human race, you got to have an optimistic, can-do attitude.
Well, we know that's already a broken piece of verbiage, right? Optimism, pessimism. This is kind of neither one of those things are the correct perspective, correct?
Yeah.
Technically.
I mean, there's a lot of words I could use for, like, it's insanely ambitious, insane, full stop, delusionally grandiose. I mean, there are like a trillion things to describe the whole trying to become president, yada, yada, save the world, etc. I mean,
well, I'm just saying, though, if you only have one road that has the word rational on it and the rest of the words have something like take a shit, I'm just saying that, you have to take the road that's the only one that has a possibility of going somewhere productive. Productive's a
So
good word.
all you got to do is figure out if you know how things work in reality, and you know things that do work and things that don't work, and you want to accomplish something, well, you shouldn't use things that are known not to work. So we're talking about...
We're not in that circumstance where we have any choice. We don't have a choice, okay? This is like the Nazis have a bunch of Jews in the torture chamber, and they're making lampshades at them and doing all this kind of shit, and you're only like 5 guys.
So they think they have no
like a wooden pop gun. You have like a wooden pop gun.
There's always a third option. It's not always...
Shoots out on a string, and it only shoots us 4 feet because it's on a string, and so, you don't have much hope of winning, but you're still going to fight, fucker, because it's the only game in town.
Yes, that's the story we're sold. The only game in town. Well, why don't you just not play? Enough people don't play the game.
We're back to glibbery again, because it matters, because losing is not an option. That's why.
Isn't it?
No, because it's got failure. Guaranteed failure. You have 2 things. You have preposterous hope, and you have guaranteed failure. Well, I say you gotta go with preposterous hope. To choose guaranteed failure is just irrational, as Mr. Spock would say.
Well, why are you putting the pressure of success and failure? I mean, other organisms don't. Just because you can comprehend it.
No, let's do it the parameciums do. Yeah, that's what my mother used to say. Just be like the other parameciums. Quit being different.
Well, understanding stuff does not necessarily compel you to do other than any other living organism.
Guys, that was the whole, but we already covered that subject. That's what the obligation and responsibility.
Well, I mean, you feel like you should, but you feel
are made visible through intelligence.
Well, no, you're like, I understand this, so I should really do something one way or another over this horrible thing about. But no, you actually don't have that responsibility. Just because you can comprehend the plight of life and the whole, futility of it all.
I'm just saying, the responsibility is that reason and rationality are your only options here. You don't really have the option of winning by being irrational and silly and stupid and uncalculating and, just farting. That's not going to win. So that thinking is going to beat farting any day.
What's winning to you again, Gary?
What's who?
What do you think of as winning?
Winning is being productive, making the most out of your stupid, conscious, fucking crappy existence. So winning is, I will reduce suffering on planet Earth with the hope that I can annihilate all the useless and unnecessary pain ever to be experienced in the future.
I see. I guess if everyone worked toward that goal, at the very least, it would cut down on the fucking traffic.
You would think, yeah.
Without people just reproducing willy-nilly, like those, as the Lord, I don't like to go on about things that I really hate. I don't want to rant about them, but like the Duggars, and just when people have 16 kids and everybody's like, oh yeah, this is so great, let's celebrate it. And I'm like, oh my fucking God,
I know, but isn't every parent an asshole? I mean, just thinking about it, there's nobody I would say, oh yeah, they should be parents. Because it's just always going to blow up, right? And even movie star kids.
It's maniacal to think you could raise a kid without horribly damage them.
Exactly. You have to be so cruel to make them into a human being. You have to, you really have to work on it because they start off as this gooey, stupid, selfish piece of shit, and you have to kind of beat that out of them.
Well, despite whatever the best intentions of parents, really, everybody's going to have something horribly wrong with them by the time they get to adulthood. Nobody is suited to be a parent, really, right? I guess we're all.
Well, you once played on a character on TV. You were a guy with one eye, but there's again you can't I'm just correcting you again. They're all not the same mistakes. There's gravity of mistakes, so obviously it's a lot worse to have parents can really turn you into Frankenstein. It's not like a
Well, I think it's just like if you look around the world and you see how many people, kind of botch the job of parenting, it's a little bit egomaniacal to say, well, you know what, I can go ahead and succeed at this.
Yeah. Well, it's always coming from
everyone always is fucking it up.
Right. The crack whore who says, yeah, my parents sucked. I'm going to be so much better. And why she's drinking and smoking, and you're just like, oh yeah, you're ready for the job. You're taking it seriously.
Inmendham, here's what I think about judgment. It's not a matter of like being non-judgmental is great. I'm going to tell you how I think about judgment and why I try to avoid it personally. Everybody, I feel like, judges other people because people are always trying to aim some judgment at them, and they're always trying to pass the buck, make sure that everybody has a way to pay forward the judgment to their lessers and whatnot. It's kind of like having somebody shoot at your feet, like, dance, monkey dance. Avoid the judgment by passing it off upon others. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is so much work. So, you're just going to shoot at my feet? Well, fuck you. I ain't going to dance. Because it's so much easier. And judge me, if you will. But I'm not going to pay it forward because I can control my actions, and I'm going to do it just to spite y'all because it's not necessary. It's obstructive. When you judge somebody, you're really just obstructing them because they're going to do whatever the fuck they're going to do.
Bullshit.
Your judgment doesn't really mean anything.
Bullshit. Every interaction means something. It all adds up.
Inmendham. If they're wrong, why don't you help them?
I wouldn't be me if other people's action had no impact. Quite obviously, I have been created by the environment. So I'm just saying the environment I create is going to change them. It's just a fact.
Well, I do believe that empirical reality disagrees with you by your own admission and your many stories and characterizations of people in general, my friend.
I'm not saying that can be deliberate. I'm just saying we change each other not just deliberately, but indeliberately. By providing a bad example, you can provide somebody a good example because people say, shit, I don't want to be that asshole. I'm just saying that all interactions have significance, and I'm just saying if you calculate the interaction, you can have a commensurately likely to be productive consequence. You can't guarantee anything. We can't control any of this, but I'm just saying we certainly know what's more probable to have an effect. And I'm just saying it's more probable for crack whores to recognize they shouldn't be mothers if you actually point out that they're insanely out of control. They can't even take care of themselves, and they have no right to play dice with the welfare of their child. So unless they have a plan, and unless they have a lot of insurance to cover all their failures, like muscular dystrophy insurance or whatever, what business they got creating human beings?
Let me ask you this, Inmendham. Has anyone passing their judgment off upon you ever stopped you from doing anything you wanted to do, really? Ever even once?
What I'm saying is that obviously I drew my conclusions from the world that existed, and so I did it without anybody even telling me it's the truth. So obviously the truth is there to be discovered, and I'm saying that interactions with people are likely to change them. Yes, if everybody... Look, we know that
the judgment people cast upon you ever changed you toward what they...
Point to people, no, I don't change anybody, but if I was Madonna, I'm telling you I could change people. All you need is celebrity endorsement. So let's not pretend that celebrities dictate what the mind of the human race will be, okay? Humans are sheep. The stupid humans are sheep. If the Pope
you mean the focus, Gary. We're talking about judgment.
If the Pope says tomorrow that it's okay to fuck your neighbor's wife, they're all going to go fuck their neighbor's wife.
Well, you went off the reservation and went back onto another reservation that had marijuana. You smoked some of that marijuana, and then you went off that reservation.
I am pointing out how the mind is get-toable, and I'm saying if all the intellectuals keep pretending they don't have an obligation to instruct the ignorant assholes on...
Ifs and buts or candy or nuts, Gary, we are in, I consider you an equal. We're both going to have to be Lord and Saviors here because, honestly, I'm not going to cut it, and I need you to man up here, okay? Seriously.
Well, I don't see how
Like,
I'm putting on Mr. Glib hat. I don't see
you
how that's
look more like a Lord and Savior than me. Maybe my role is to make you the real Jesus, so just kind of fucking go with me, asshole. I might make you
But the
Jesus,
point
okay?
is not to be Jesus. The point is to accomplish the Jesusian task. And so my point is, I don't, who cares about the label? I care about the performance. And I'm just still arguing to you. You think there's a
I'm
more
glad we agree about performance. Have you been performing to a Lord and Savior and kind of?
Well, let's just take one premise of mine. Take my one premise. My premise is that it's kind of a garbage in, garbage out system for human beings. And the only way you can get good stuff in is you first have to erase their hard drive. You first have to get the garbage out before you can put something good in. So that's my premise. So until the imbeciles are told they're imbeciles and stop thinking they're already cooked and they're not raw and they're not underdone, until you get that arrogance out of their head, they can't possibly be educated because they think they're winning. They think they're okay. They think they're smart enough.
Yeah, and you keep saying until and unless and that's what I do with my being the Lord. And actually, you have to take it upon yourself to be the better person, if you will. But you don't want to think of it as being the better person. But if you know what's going on, and you know that confronting them directly is not going to work, you're going to have to bear that fucking cross as the Lord.
Well,
and not just tell them to their face.
You're saying, confronting them, it doesn't work, and I'm saying it does work. If the icons, if the ISIS, and all the other...
Gary, this world is full of bullshit. Bullshit is catered to taste. It is catered to what people want to believe. The truth is just the truth. It caters to no one. It's harder to sell, so you can't sell it. It'll never sell. You see what I'm saying?
People, they sold the Iraqi war. They sell the Iraqi war to fucking 18-year-old kids, and they go over there and shoot.
You hear a lot of complaining about the problems while you were looking at
or you can sell the truth. And I'm saying, as long as intellectuals keep wimping out and failing to do what their job is, which is to correct the stupid, as long as they're unwilling to correct them, then they're not going to get corrected.
Well, instead of talking about how they have failed to meet their obligations, why don't we look at who knows what's going on and can do something if they can do just a little bit better than that guy?
Well, that's all I'm asking. I'm saying to you.
If you're aware of what's going on, you're going to have to take over a little more responsibility.
You can sit there and wallow in, watermelon.
You're wallowing, Gary. We are in a little status club of Lord and Saviors, okay? And I realize you're a little older and you've lost hope. But we're going to need you to stop talking about what they're not doing, and you start to believe in yourself.
Quite obviously,
Gary,
that's a false premise. I haven't obviously. You're the one has lost hope. I'm the one saying.
Gary,
you
know what? I'm going to end this hangout now. I want you to think about what I've said, because I gotta go play some. I got Wall-E, for a PlayStation 2. It's a retro game, and I just realized I am aching to finish the next level. This hangout's been going on forever, but Gary, I have loved having you on my hangout. And you're so much more pleasant than like when we do our back and forth videos, and I think you probably think the same of me.
I'm only being more pleasant because, like I said, you have moved in an encouraging direction that requires reward. See, I want to reward people for going the right way and punish people for going the wrong way.
And Gary, yeah, I have been a monumental prick, like nonstop to an enormous degree, and so I guess I am significantly less of a prick, so I can see perfect logic in that. I'm still working on being less of a prick still, but I mean, I think any progress is good. Just got to keep going forward on it.
Exactly. That's all I'm for.
I got to get up the Lord's
taking the road called to be more rational. I'm all for that road. So,
no, it's not just rational. It's got to be a standard of good, and it's like
I know, but
not engaging and indulging, and
truth is good. The truth is good. I think that's in the Bible, right? The word is the truth, is the way, is the finish.
Oh man, it's really good, and it's like this guy begat this other guy, begetting.
That part is just terrible. That whole Genesis thing, but it's funny at the end, right? I mean, the funny part where Noah's naked and drunk, and then God sentences his son to damnation for seeing his 900-year-old penis. I mean, that part is hilarious.
I only know the stuff that Jesus said.
Oh,
you Old Testament.
You missed out on the funniest part of the Bible. You got to read the Old Testament. It's hilarious. If you find a dead bird on the road, you're supposed to give it to a homeless man because it's better to make him sick.
Well, also, if he's homeless, he's more likely to be so hungry that he eats a bird.
I'm just saying that isn't that so wonderfully godly that, well, yeah, it's better that the poor guy gets food poisoning. I mean, it's not like his burdens aren't already heavy enough. I mean, he's already got all kinds of fetters. Might as well give him some food poisoning, too.
Well, like, there's always a risk of food poisoning when you're eating birds, but since you're not going to eat the bird and he would eat a bird if he found it, you may as well give it to him.
God is not providing for him, so I'm just saying it seems kind of cruel. That's all I'm saying.
It's literally the least you can do, but it is at least...
It seems like it's kind of hilarious behavior for a God to suggest that we should give dead birds to homeless people. That's all. It just seems kind of funny to me.
It is.
Yeah.
It is oddly specific advice. Like, make sure if you find a bird. If it's a squirrel, though, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other funny part, right? You do have to wonder why squirrels were off the menu. Maybe it's the desert thing, not too many squirrels around.
Well, like you find like a vulture, maybe. Of course, I wouldn't eat a vulture.
Well, vulture's a bird, so bats are birds.
I guess it really is.
That's a good thing about
it. We're vultures, and that's what they're talking about. They do want to make those fuckers sick. Those assholes.
Whales are fish, and bats are birds. The Bible's really up on all that biological stuff. God was really smart.
Well, I mean, think about it, man. They don't know if they actually put the taxonomy in there, then scientists would later, ironically, not use that because it was in the Bible, which would then make it not correct.
Yeah, but that's the irony is that then science would be the Bible, so that would be, if God actually told us the truth, like, yeah, there's little microbes on everything, so maybe you should wash your hands because there's microbes on everything. I'm sorry about the microbe thing. I wasn't thinking at the time, and I put them everywhere. But it would have been God to let us in on it.
Side effect of all that?
Like
everybody has peanut allergies.
It'd be nice if one of the thou shalts were like, thou shalt get the mold fungus and turn it into penicillin and it's a wonder drug. It'd be nice if the Bible had some
Gary, now there's consequences to that. We got antibiotic resistance, which really, we're still way better off, but we're eventually getting back to where we were, where we have nothing.
I know, but they still work really well on some agents. Like I've had Lyme disease 9 times, and if it wasn't for antibiotics, my brain would have been completely killed by microbes by now.
Gary, I am so glad you survived, but I would like to point out that since I've never had antibiotics in my life, you're contributing to that problem. And, if I was a judgmental, petty type, I'd be like, why are you making these superbugs that can kill me, my friend, when I haven't contributed to the superbugs at all?
No. It's not a human-to-human contagion, so there's no antibiotic resistance.
Well, yeah, but just the normal flora and fauna of your body also get a dose of those antibiotics. Your Staphylococcus aureus, you have your own microbiome. Those can start developing antibiotic resistance just because they're part of the microbiome. You're creating superbugs that could kill you, my friend. How can you contribute to this problem that could kill little me?
Because I do take them for their full course, so I do kill everything, theoretically, living inside of me except for me.
Oh, yeah. That's not actually possible.
I know, but I'm just saying it's close enough, and frankly, I'm not going to get into a conversation about how antibiotics are bad, because antibiotics are really great.
I'm just saying every time a person takes antibiotics, there is a slight chance that they can create antibiotic-resistant Staphylococcus aureus,
I know. You can tell feminists to grow penises, and I can tell you to get a better immune system, sucker.
My point, Gary. That's my entire point. Anybody can get up on a high horse. I, of course, don't care about that. I'm the Lord. I don't get infections. Get real. No, I was just showing you how anybody can say that they don't contribute to a problem and others do, and then get all that judgmental. But it doesn't really help. It didn't help.
I understand, but let's be real. There are a lot of people doing that just to distract from their real serious problems.
Exactly.
They're
Exactly.
serial killers, and they're complaining about other people using eyebrow liners.
Exactly, and they exploit our weaknesses and our urge to debate. So we got to be smarter than the demons that try to distract us and exploit the points of contention. They play a game, we don't play.
Like Pyrrha.
I'm inducting you into the Lord and Savior Club. Gary, we're equals in this Lord and Savior game, and I have full faith in you, but like I said, I got to end this hangout because I got stuff to do. I really want you to think about, I mean, you would be way better Lord and Savior than me. Look at your fucking hair, my man. You already have that way down. Come on, man. Can I get a hell yeah? Can I get a
Hell yeah!
I need a fucking colleague up in this bitch, my friend. There is no one I know who cares as much. I just need you to get on the winning team in terms of your attitude. A can-do attitude. Can we do it?
Die soon and be productive. Yeah, or be productive and then die soon. Die quickly.
I just want you to think back to when you were, say, a teenager, when you really thought that there was hope. When you really...
No, I just thought about... No. Sorry. I have absolutely no hope, and I wanted pussy, but that was...
Gary, I know you gave up a long time ago, but remember whenever before you did give up. Just try to reflect upon that cold-hearted boy that you were so long ago.
I never gave up. So again, that's the wrong word to use. I put on my soldier suit and said, I'm going to fight.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of ways of expressing the same thing from a different angle, so I can't say that you're wrong or that I am.
There's a lot of cliches that you can rifle off redundantly like a machine gun or something, and yeah, you can do that, but it's a cliche.
I just said, think back to the person who didn't know that. Just reflect upon how that person was, who hadn't learned that.
Yes, well, like a lord, I sort of...
I'm not asking for an answer. Reflecting on...
I can't think back to some point in life that didn't exist. I'm just saying life has always looked like pretty much a piece of interesting but smelly dog shit.
Well, anyway, I offer you a chance to save the world, my friend. I just want you to reflect upon whether you can man up and start savioring with me here. I really need a colleague, someone I can consider an equal. I consider that you. Now, if that flatters you a little, then take that flattery and man up with it. I'm going to need a little more in terms of...
Take that out of your ass.
I know good and well you can do better. So you think about whether or not you want to.
Okay.
Have a nice day.